we're live, but our setup is a little bit janky, so let me see if we can fix that as we attempt to go live here. Gonna tighten that a good bit. Gonna sit ourselves down, gonna angle the camera. There we are. Okay, so we have currently 0 listeners, but we're jumping back on. Hello, everybody. Can you all hear me? Hello, 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 hello. Hey, there we go. Okay. We are talking again here. Hey, fake name jumped in. Good to see you, fake name. So if you don't know, we're talking right now on our, of course, our live stream here on YouTube, and we're also over here on a Twitter space. It's good to see we have 4 people jumping into the live stream, 2 likes already, 3 viewers. Thank you guys for hanging out. So I'm sure it's going to be a little bit confusing for people on our Twitter space, which we actively have open, talking about micronations, and we're over here on our live stream. We're about to get started actually building our DIY solar panel. We actually have a lot of those little tiny solar-powered LED lights for people's yards and gardens and stuff that Tiffany's family ended up having for a long time, and they died. The batteries broke on them. So I collected all of them up, and we are going to be making a solar panel for our new territory that we are going to be working on and using to actually charge a large 12-volt car battery that'll stay out on the land and allow us to run some LEDs and some small appliances and stuff. So I appreciate you all joining. And if you want to join our Twitter spaces as well, this is something new that we're trying. This is our first successful attempt at setting up a Twitter space, and right now we have 0 listeners on it. So if you guys want to jump in and hang out, it would mean a lot. I know there are a ton of micronations on Twitter, and so I really want to get some cool conversations going with people. I just think the spaces aren't really heavily used by micronations yet on Twitter, but I think it will be a cool way to get things going. So we're just testing the waters, seeing what we can do. One of the big things I wanted to talk about on the space tonight was actually about micronations getting into macronational politics and discussing macronational politics. Last stream we had a great guest on, Grand Duchess von Elfberg from Aeternia, one of the oldest micronations since like the 70s, and she is an advocate that micronations should not interact with macronational politics. They should be left outside of the microsphere, outside of micronational politics. However, myself, I am a big proponent of the opposite, that micronations wanting to see change in their macronational counterparts and having to interact constantly with them should have an open voice and at least express their opinion about what's happening in macronational politics. Of course, that can be controversial because you're going to get likes and dislikes from people on different sides of the macronational political spectrum, but even still, I think it really informs people about the beliefs of your micronation and as well allows a good gauge for people to understand how you interact micronationally and what that means as far as your politics and as far as your community development. So, you know, people think politically in terms of macronational politics, right versus left, Democrat versus Republican, whatever your macronation's party lines are. If you are in a democracy, a lot of the time people, or a republic, a lot of the time people feel and think based around that mindset, what they're familiar with. So when you develop a micronation, people want to know your political leanings, you know, your political compass test. A lot of micronations do that as a way to gauge what their community will develop like, and to show to citizens, potential citizens or potential investors, to say, hey, this is kind of who we are, this is the way that we think, and this is the way we're going to develop. So I think micronations should play an active vocal role in macronational politics. That doesn't mean you have to vote in elections that they do. That doesn't mean you have to run for office in macronations. But I think, in my opinion, it does mean that you should have a vested interest in speaking out. Especially because you could attract a lot of support that way from people who feel the same as you on those macronational subjects. So yeah, if you guys are on Twitter, definitely jump into our Twitter space. I've sent a few invites out to people to see if we can kind of test the water and get in there, but let's see. Multiple things. Raspberry says, hello Raspberry, it's good to see you. Fake name says electric problems are world problems. I completely agree, and it helps us to, so in the development of this DIY solar panel that we're going to be making. It'll be pretty substantial. We have, I think, 34 of these fairly small little solar cells that can charge like 1 to 2 LEDs individually. But when you think of this, we'll only need like about 8 of those to run a 12-volt battery. And of course, that's at small amperage, but we'll have probably 4 of those that we're able to create combined into one large solar cell. And we should be able to get some relatively nice power out of it, a significantly sized solar cell. So I'll be continuing to update you guys on that as we continue the project and develop it. But tonight, I just wanted to take the little scraps we have and kind of start ripping them apart and making what we can out of it. Let me see real quick if I can jump in. So somebody wanted to join our space, and they said just now that they got the invite, but that they needed a link. So I'm a little bit confused. Like I said, this is the first time for me setting up a Twitter space. So you guys in the live stream here will have to bear with me while I'm trying to set this up. And you guys in the Twitter space will definitely have to bear with me while I try to do things in the live stream as well. But that being the case, I hope this is a way for us to spread out our audience and to continue growing and connecting people across the Micronational community. There are plenty of people who are on Twitter, on Discord, and so on and so forth, Instagram, who aren't on the other platforms. So I hope this is a way to sort of get those ideas out there and let other people kind of connect. So I'm trying to send this person a link because they said they were in the space, but I don't see them actually in the space. Like it tells me who's listening and who's viewing and stuff, and I don't see anybody. So I'm gonna copy a link and actually just straight up paste it for them. Oh, okay, nice. So it says that there's one person currently, which may be them, but I don't see any, which is interesting. Right now it says 0 for me, so I'm curious as to how that's gonna work once they jump in. I'm kind of waiting on them. But let me go and grab real quick all of our stuff for setting up the solar panel. I will say Tiffany in the background, for all of you on the live stream, is doing something kind of interesting. We are planning on going to Microcon. And so you'll notice her kind of hanging out in the background through the stream. She is actually working on her uniform, her outfit for Aeternia's presentation at Microcon this year, 2022 Microcon in Las Vegas. We're super excited about it. We want to go in style, and we need to have some matching uniforms. We want to go in style. We want to really match, look nice and professional. And so as we're doing that, one of the big issues that we've had is that we don't have a consistent theme or look for how every single Aeternian should dress and wear. We don't have any uniform, and we didn't want to come up with anything that's too specific, too focused, because we don't want it to look like a McDonald's uniform or something. We don't want everybody to just be in a suit or something where everybody looks exactly the same. But we really want it to reflect our culture and feel like there are elements that are the same while allowing everybody their own unique approach. So Tiffany is designing her outfit for Microcon, and I'm excited to see it. We're going to try and tailor mine as well to adapt and to kind of update in some of its features more than just the normal suit and ascot that I wear, green suit and ascot that I wear. So we're going to be continuing with that real quick. Everybody says, nice shirt, Your Imperial Majesty. Hey, thank you so much, Real Novus. It means a lot. I just graduated with my bachelor's in physics, and this was a present that I got a while back. So I'm super excited about that. Thank you so much. Raspberry says, I'm more of a democracy person, but that's just fine. But that's just me. Very cool. And tell us why that is. Like, are you a democracy person for both micronations and macronations, just macronations? Because we've talked about, which types of micronations are more and less successful and why. And so I'm curious to hear your opinion on that. There are a whole bunch of people in the comments, but we do have Richrak joining into our Micronational space here on Twitter. It's good to see you, Richrak. Let me see if I can invite them to talk. Let's see what they say. Come on, Rich. What you got for us? What you got, Rich? We need to hear these fresh takes. But yeah, as we continue, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't grab some of these uh, little. I keep wanting to call them LEDs. They're not LEDs. These little solar panels. They connect to LEDs. Um, but very cool. Yeah, I appreciate everybody jumping in. Again, let me know what you guys think about macro-national politics, people speaking about macro-national politics in the micro world, especially because we're in a unique position right now. We're doing stuff like MicroCon, where we're interacting with a lot more micronations. We're doing stuff like this, where we're both on YouTube and on Twitter Spaces. We're doing stuff like having our land purchased, trying to struggle, even though, we don't have a ton of money right now. We're not, we're trying to struggle to keep our own personal stuff developed as well as to try and keep our micronation going. And so as we continue this, we are reaching further and further into a point where macronational politics is just an inevitable intersection with what we're doing. And so we either completely, reject that and try and move around it, or we step into it and we try and have those open conversations about what it means. So the Real Nova says, I shall reinstall Twitter, Your Majesty. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I would love to see what you guys think and to see you join our space. I mean, we've had people. Ooh, hey, Richrak, how are you? Okay, Rich joined us. We'll see what happens. He's muted.
Hold on. I'm gonna just quickly. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Now I can hear the stream only. Sorry, the audio tracks were kind of mixing together. My headphones are kind of. Anyways, I heard you were talking about macro-national politics. Is that the current question at hand?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, so we were talking to the Grand Duchess of Ruritania, Grand Duchess von Elfberg, the other night, and she was expressing that she feels like micronations should stay completely out of macronational politics, shouldn't involve themselves at all. And we want to know the community's larger opinion. We definitely in the past have interacted with macronational politics. We've given our thoughts to different events, particularly in U.S. politics. And I know that we've also gotten some flack for that. So while you explain your opinions on that, I'm going to run and grab some supplies, but I will be right back.
Of course. Okay. So, to me, macronational politics directly affects micronations in the sense that usually these micronations have to abide by these macronational laws because, places don't hold superiority over the national government of most of the macronations they reside in. So it comes down to macronational politics when it comes to affecting micronations. So in order to effectively become a micronation, you have to be involved in politics because they affect your micronation, your citizens directly. That is literally how you get things done by following local ordinances and stuff like that. I'm not saying that your micronation doesn't have any influence. It's just that the macronation holds a superior law of the land in their hands when it comes to enforcement and military and all that grand stuff. Oh, also, sorry if my mic is not top notch.
No, you're all good. So I just heard the tail end of that. You were saying that macronations have a larger spot in terms of size, kind of authority, enforcement ability. But if I understood you correctly, it sounds like you're saying that we both have kind of a place in that game, so to speak. Also, sorry, I literally sprinted, so I'm kind of out of breath.
That's all right. Well, yes, I did say that micronations have a role to enforcement of certain things like laws and just like general stuff. Like, for instance, if let's say you form an organization and people pay for a membership to that organization, and the organization works to enforce local laws. See, you got a good camera, yeah. It's nice and straight, yeah, I can see it. Anyways, that organization you're running is able to influence and control. Yeah, I can see you. That's awesome. It's just that's so cool. It's just a matter of how powerful the micronation is in terms of like law enforcement. That gives reputability and influence to the micronation over the local government. Shows that people can organize themselves in another fashion rather than the establishment in order to fix problems, like paving roads, filling potholes, general stuff. Gives them more influence and popularity. It's kind of like what I'm trying to do. I'm not going to shout myself out because that's kind of like whatever, but basically, it's kind of like a successor government. So you have the local government that like kind of does regular stuff, and then the successor government kind of takes over in some of those, general processes. And it allows for the successor government to eventually replace the local government. It's not as equal to like national. It's more of a collection of people versus the local government, and in this scenario, the collection of people would come out top. By the way, I'm reading chat right now. Solar combined with steam power would be a lot better, by the way.
I agree with that.
Oh, and by the way,
I'm sorry.
the audio on Twitter here is more delayed than the stream, which is why I had to my computer and use my phone. So, yeah. So there's that. I just explained to them the whole process of a successor government kind of replacing the local government. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's I think, you know what? I'll explain it again because you got back.
Yes, sir.
So the local government deals with paving roads, filling potholes, supplying food, running water, and utilities, right? Well, what if a local collection of people that called themselves a micronation decided that they wanted to do those things too? That is a successor government. That's something that allows micronation to be involved in local politics and eventually national. Because as soon as you start providing as necessities to people, you become their government. I mean, you literally become their government because they rely on you for their water, their utilities, their roads, their bridges. Is that a solar panel?
Yes. So one of the things that I brought up a little while ago, and actually, while we're on a break, I'll go ahead and bring this up for people on the Twitter space as well as for people on the live stream. First off, thank you all for joining us. We have 10 viewers, 6 likes. If you guys could like the video, it helps to spread it out, helps to get more people in the Twitter space and in the live stream. But yes, to answer your question, Rich, 100%. This is a this is a solar panel. What I'm doing right now on the live stream, I am taking effectively Tiffany's family had all these little like solar panel LED lights that like light up your garden, and their batteries all died. They've just had them for years. So I went and collected them up. We have like 34 of them right now, I think. So I'm taking them apart. I have what are some little, effectively some ones that I've already taken apart and kind of shaved the plastic casing off of. And I have 3 of those so far. And then I'm getting the rest of them and doing the same thing. And we're going to hook them up such that each of them runs, 1 to 2 volts. We're going to hook that up in series to get 12 volts. And then we should have, it should take about 8 of these solar panels, 7 or 8 of them, to run up to that 12 volt mark. And then we're going to have 3 or 4 of those 12 volt solar panels hooked in parallel to get a higher amperage out. We're going to use that on our land to run a 12 volt car battery, and probably multiple of them in parallel to just slowly charge them over a few days, a few weeks. And then we're going to use that to run some small LEDs and a few other things. But once that happens, we can actually take that and run an inverter to it so that we can get 120 volts out, and we will have a very small amount of power that we can actually use, but we'll still have all the technical ability to get 120 volts out just like you would from your house. So then all we have to do from there is keep getting more solar panels and keep scaling up.
Yes, that's actually pretty good. I am surprised you found 37 cells to actually string together, and that's pretty impressive. I think you definitely got something there with the system that you've devised to generate power.
I appreciate it.
The videos that you've posted where you're located aren't wooded. That's the thing. So you've got really open areas that can generate solar energy. And the thing with the new, it's really cool. So apparently you can generate solar energy even when there's cloud cover sometimes. So, it doesn't need overcast. You're going to be generating power regardless of your weather conditions out there, which means that you can operate around the clock until the sun goes down. And if you get enough money to buy a solar setup, some of those energy off the freaking moon, man. It gets really crazy the higher up you go in price, but at your current level of economic activity, once you get like your metallurgy, you can make like coins and all that, you'll be fine. You'll make enough money to buy panels and string them together. And what you said about powering appliances, 120 volts out of a system like that is completely feasible. I mean, I'm more of a political guy in the micronational community, but I'm also kind of power generation, sort of. Now, there's a unique method on how you can generate power. I don't know, I think it was in the Federation of Pangea. Somebody was like, you know what we should use to generate power? We should use freaking an off-grid technology like a turbine, basically. And it's not like what it sounds like. It's not like a dam or anything. It's actually just a tube with a spoke and a wheel in it with well, I guess you could call them wings. It basically lets fish pass through while it's generating energy. It's so cool. Anyways, I'm gonna let you talk because I've been talking for like a solid 5 minutes.
No, well, first off, I wanted to say I definitely appreciate it. There are a lot of cool ways to create renewable energy. One of the downsides to our land is that it is very wooded. We haven't shown a ton of our actual land purchase, so I'm hoping to show more of that. But it's 3.5 acres. It's on a mountain, and so it's not real steep, but there is a very slight elevation. So the good news, slope, there's a slight slope. So the benefit of that is that we'll have most of our rain actually run off, and we won't have a lot of flooded areas on our land if there is like a flash flood or something. But the downside to that is that we don't have any big streams or consistently running rivers or anything like that on our land. So a hydropower is fairly limited, but we're gonna try and do some stuff with that. I actually, in my physics degree, had been looking into for my senior research project some renewable energy stuff that deals in hydropower in very very small scales, and that's what I did a project on. So there are alternative methods other than just turning a turbine to develop hydropower, and I'm excited to kind of talk about those at a certain point. The other thing I wanted to say, Rich, it's really good to hear your voice. You have been in our live streams a number of times. I always see your comments. I always see you in our Discord, and it's really cool to like actually hear your voice.
Oh yeah. Of course. I I honestly, I've been in these live streams for what, like 3 years now, and I haven't said anything. Anyways, I wanted to let you know that, you know, when I started micronationalism, the first few videos that I first started watching was like, it was yours, and then surprisingly, it was yours first. And then it was Vice. Because, you know, that Vice video was so popular back in the day. It's just like, I don't know, it's just so cool that you were the first thing to come up, you know? And you let me start the Internet Union, and then eventually became the next Micronation I'm working on. So that's pretty cool, I guess. I liked watching your streams too. I mean, I was around for a lot of the good ones too. I was around. I think I was late to the Dracul interview and stuff, but whatever. I was there anyway. But another thing on for example, I'm blanking here. I'm trying
Also,
to.
I just wanted to say, hey Matt.
I'm really blanking here. I think I am struggling to string together a sentence right now. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you because your content is so detailed. I mean, this stuff is a very high budget for this kind of a YouTube channel. I mean, your thumbnails and your live streams, and you know, I'm gonna be honest, your flag is very nice. I think that it's been posted on the Vexology subreddit a couple times. Like, oh, how well is this flag? That's always received upvotes. People really see Aeternia going somewhere. I wanted to let you know that people have faith in this micronation, and it's people who want it to go somewhere. This place is filled with very high, like, just people are very happy, you know? It's like their own thing. And I hope that it continues to be its own thing for a very, very long time because it helped me get into micronationalism. It helped my friends online get into micronationalism. It's probably helped at least half this community become involved in like foreign relations with other micronations. Because I mean, you probably read General every so often. There are hundreds of micronations that join your server looking for people just to talk with. And it ends up with them either creating a micronation together or discovering that they have similar ideas and that they could create an alliance and that they could be something more than just themselves. And I don't know, this is kind of like, oh, just like buttering you up, you know? Oh, wow, look at that. Sorry. The stream is like, kind of, whatever. Oh my gosh, it's like so many. Wow, you weren't lying. Anyways, you've done something very amazing for the micronational community. I hope to like see you at the next Microcon. Of course, I can't travel out of the country because I don't have my passport. But you know, I'll probably be at the one in the east, maybe. Anyways, your solar program that's going pretty well. You know, I mean, I don't think there's been another micronation outside of the ones that were at the Microcon in Vice that have progressed as fast as you.
I will say
Other than
that.
like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
hmm?
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you can keep going.
I was gonna say that means a ton, Rich. I really appreciate it. I know one of the things that's been weird about doing all this is I I never know what direction is the right direction to go, I guess. I always feel really lucky because we've had a big community and we've had people relative to the micronational community who have been supportive and who have helped us to develop. Like this has never since pretty much since we started the Discord, this has never been just my thing anymore. You specifically, Rich, as well as a ton of other people, have put time into this community, have made things for our Discord, have made things, for our social media, whether it's art, whether it's just talking about topics. People have sent me messages and said, hey, what do you think about this thing? Or hey, this is my micronation and I'm trying to get into this thing. People have participated in some of our stuff like the micronational risk tournament, and I'm so thankful for all of you because I know I remember so vividly in the initial days of having the Discord and of being on YouTube even, where there's zero people in the live streams, there's zero people commenting, there's zero people in the Discord, and it's cool to see how much everybody has really made this their home, and I never want to tarnish that. I never want to mess that up. As much as I have a direction for the way that I want Eternia to go, as much as I'm trying to do things like for my family and purchasing this land and trying to develop something for us economically, I feel like my purpose on this channel and my purpose with Eternia is to show what I'm doing and to provide that as kind of information for everybody, and then to see what you all make of that. And I've really loved that aspect of it, that I feel just as much a part of this community and a fan of this community as I think other people who come in and join it and watch the channel, because you guys really are the fuel for a lot of the topics, a lot of the methods of development that we have. I appreciate you guys, and I want you to know that. And my biggest issue right now, one of the largest, uh, philosophical debates that I've been having with myself and that I've been talking to people about lately, is what do I do uh, once I have to pass on the gauntlet? I'm Aeternia forever, all the way. I never want this to shut down, and I never want to stop doing it as long as I'm alive. But I have to, at some point, think about the concept that if something tragic happened to me, or if for whatever reason I couldn't continue, I want to make sure that this community stays alive, and I want to make sure that other people are able to carry on the torch for everybody that's still here. So as the community keeps growing, I need to figure out a good way to like keep it running on its own. It is, I think, my biggest challenge and our community's biggest challenge thus far. Also, on the topic of solar panels, real quick, I want to say, so I keep goofing. I'm, I have like 4 of them now that I've cut. Also, Matt, good to see you. Thank you for joining the stream. Um, I have 4 of them cut out now, so we're starting to get a decent size for our solar panel here. But I keep goofing and cutting some of the wires, so it's a thing where now I'm gonna have to go back and resolder them all and fix it. Um,
So
ooh,
dressy?
yes.
Or just dressy shirt?
Tiffany is unveiling her design for her stuff. I
Because if I
like,
do this, I'm gonna add in like pockets in here.
yeah,
I'm gonna have pockets nonetheless.
yes. I feel like I like this one. I'm down for the pants though. Like for either one of these, you could do that and it would work.
What if I did G pants like that? Because I think that's the best way to incorporate the yellow.
Yeah.
Because what, like, and this was an accident, but I like the way that it looks. Is like since it goes down and then up, just have the up part like line that line.
Yeah. I like
And then
it.
just follow it over.
I think that's pretty cool.
I
Can
think
you
it like
show
flows better. Oh.
can you show everybody on the stream? Unveiling Tiffany's art.
Let me color in the other yellow real quick, and then I'll do that. But it's a very rough draft.
Absolutely. I want to say once again I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, Rich, for joining the space and for being on our stream. But yeah, I'm super excited about all the stuff that we're doing, and I really like seeing everybody. One of the things, just to ask everybody, because I've been curious about this, and I think it'd be cool if we could like advertise it enough to make it a big deal. I would love to like kind of surprise everybody in the general one day and see if we could just get enough people together to do like a micronational review. We've done it to like a small scale before where I'll jump on Twitter, I'll jump on Instagram and kind of look at different stuff from Micronation. But I would really love to do second Rich Rack jumping in. I was gonna say I would really love to see a way to do not even like a Shark Tank type of thing, but kind of like that, where it's like a quick elevator pitch on your micronation. Like we jump in the stream, we have a few different nations in there. Maybe we can even invite some like guest nations, some people that people know. Maybe try and get Molossia or West Arctica or somebody on, and just jump in, or Ruritania, have some people jump in, and then just like nations people haven't heard of, new nations, people who are just jumping into the Discord for the first time. Like, hey, what's your nation about? Talk to us about what you want. Talk to us about what you're thinking, and we'll just talk about those ideas and go over them and learn about people's stuff. Because I feel like we do some exposure stuff, but we don't really hype the community enough. So I want to do something to give back like that.
The pants would be black though. Just because I think they're easier to maintain. I think it'll really pop out the yellow.
I like them. I'm still trying to figure out if I would want the yellow on the pants for me, but I do dig it. It's a cute look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where can you unveil your art to everybody? Tiffany's art for MicroCon 2022. Initial draft idea. For you guys only. Initial drop on the stream. You heard it here first.
Yeah, but it's so rough and it looks.
I think it's cute. You say it's rough. I can draw half a straight line, maybe.
I need to get my pencils though so I can color it better.
I think you're killing me.
Only Sharpie's fine, but if I had coloring pencils, which I do have a Packers.
Did your dad have any of those tiny little screwdrivers?
Yes.
I need to go and grab them. Or do you think they're in his little thing in here?
It's funny you say that. I actually have a kit next to me.
Oh, goodness.
Like,
Throw them through
funny.
the screen, Rich. I need. Yeah. Let me. Well, first off, I appreciate that you're a well-equipped man. As well, let me see. There's somebody who keeps trying to.
I'm like over here trying to mess with my audio to make sure that you guys can like hear me correctly, because my phone open and my laptop, or not my laptop, my desktop open to this space, because apparently Twitter on the computer doesn't actually let you activate the speaker. So the phone is how I had to do it. So now I'm connected via Bluetooth. So it's kind of janky, but it'll work.
I definitely appreciate you joining and trying to help out. I think your audio sounds pretty good. I will say real quick, I want to say hello to Michael Ryan, hello Jaden of Jadonia, King Jaden of Jadonia, hello Edward Gerwer. Is cool to have everybody jumping in. Of course, Raspberry T Man. We have a number of people who have jumped in. I really appreciate it. And I want to know that I want you guys to know I'm trying to read chat a little bit, but I have been like jumping back and forth between like multiple different things. So I apologize if I don't get to all the chat. I'm trying my best. But yeah, Rich, did you hear my elevator pitch idea? How do you feel about it? See if I can
Elevator pitch. Is it like I'm not sure, but
Yeah, so
I probably talked about it while I was switching between audio inputs and stuff.
Oh, you're all good. I was trying to say I've been thinking of this idea for a while for the channel, and I'm not sure how many people would be hyped. Also, let me know in the comments. I really want to try and do a thing where we give back to the community a little bit. We don't do enough to like really advertise new micronations. Like you said, there are a ton of people who jump into
Yeah.
general and
Okay,
really like hit up
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, what if we had like I don't know, maybe some like well-known micronation, maybe Molossia or like West Arctica or like Ruritania. Some people jump in and we do like almost like Shark Tank or something, but we're not like shitting on the ideas. We just like let people do their elevator pitch of their micronation. Micronations people wouldn't have heard of before, micronations that are like new to the scene, and just kind of give them some exposure and talk about ideas.
That is literally a wonderful idea. I mean, it's basically like a panel. I mean, it's probably the best ideas in microcon. I mean, it literally makes sense because you're giving new, impressionable micronationalists a chance to present their ideas to the more experienced. I don't know, just more experienced folks, By the way, I can see the camera and everything else is good. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm always worried about the quality and stuff. Also, thank you for the recommendation on the thing. I want to move forward with it. I think it'd be a pretty good idea. As well, real quick, I want to unveil, if you are watching the live stream, Rich, and I'm going to show it to everybody else if they can see it, Tiffany's idea for her Microcon uniform, and I think it's really cute. If you can't see it because you're in the Twitter Spaces, I'm going to describe it as well. So it's a cool like dress thing. Tiffany is really big on pants. So she has one that's like just a dress, one that's like a dress, but it also has pants that come with it. And it's really cool. It has the Aeternian symbol up as like the chest part, the arrow of progress, and then it goes down into like a purple dress with a belt that also has the arrow of progress in small on it, as a small little thing. White belt, purple dress, yellow straps that are like gold for that connect with the arrow of progress in gold, and then it goes down to some white pants with the gold on the side. Well, it's just saying they're going to be black pants, and then it goes down into the yellow or the gold for the sides as well. I think it's pretty lit. I'm excited about it.
That's all on the first idea.
Given that I'm the only one in the space, yeah, you know what? It looks good. I could definitely see that. That's definitely something I would put on the red card. No, and I'm not a professional or well versed in fashion, but I think that it's presented definitely looks like something that someone would wear to MicroCon.
Oh.
That seems like it was like I care. I think you get the symbol right in the front.
Agreed. So yeah, I appreciate it, Rich. I agree with you. I think it definitely has like the Microcon vibe. Tiffany was making a joke. She says she felt like it's like a superhero costume because it has the big arrow of progress on the front, like a Superman S or something.
Yeah, kind of a little bit. But you know what? That kind of homage is perfect.
Of course, you got to connect to the brand.
When you design something like that, you gotta be expressive like that. So it's good that symbol's on the front like a superhero because you want to make people perceive Aeternia as a very big. So putting the symbol right on the front up shows that you are prideful of the symbol and want to express it as a sort of like on Aeternia, and I know I'm like using words that don't necessarily string together correctly, but what I'm saying is that designing it like that makes the symbol seem more important,
I figured it'd be the quickest eye catcher. Be like, oh yeah, and burn it in people's minds.
I
It's
agree.
the symbol in itself. Because especially if like Vice is there again, and they come and tell it makes it very like pronounced.
I completely agree. Do you wanna say it louder for the people in the back? Hit it, Tiffany.
My voice hurts.
Oh, that's true. Your voice does hurt. Never mind. I'll relay. So Tiff was saying that she thinks is definitely going to be eye catching, and she's hoping that like if Vice is there for this microcon, that it'll be something that kind of lets people know immediately what Micronation you're pro. It's kind of strong advertising, and I definitely like that. I think that's pretty cool, and I wouldn't have thought of that. I feel like Tiffany's really good at like art stuff and branding stuff, which I'm still trying to learn. A lot of the time, she'll just like pass random ideas by me and be like, "Hey, but what if you did it like this?" And it changes the entire game. It's just every once in a while, but I definitely appreciate it, and I think this is another one of those things. I could imagine being at MicroCon and having somebody like walk up to us and having like the camera on, and then just seeing Tiff with the big symbol. I think it would work out well. I think it'd be pretty cool. At very least, it'll start up some conversations with the other micronations, and you can't really like lose our citizens too well because you'll know who's from Aeternia. You'll see that symbol, even if it's not on everybody's chest. Even if like some of it's just like a belt or like a little like
it's like a beacon.
yeah, absolutely. You just everybody in the purple with the arrow of progress. You know it's an Aeternian. Also, real quick, Matt asked a question in the live chat. He said, "By the way, AP, I forget. Does Aeternia have a way to register Aeternian companies yet?" So we've been talking about that for a minute, and I never actually created a form for that. But now you are like the third or fourth person who's asked about that. Even recently, we've had some people really recently asking us to start setting up Aeternian companies. So I am not going to be slacking on it anymore. I will come up with a rough form for that within the next like 3 to 4 days, and I'll go ahead and post that so that you can like apply and fill it out. We'll have a discussion about it. We'll talk about it, and then we will have that ready to go and up for you guys. So there's going to be some difficulties with it I think at first because We're still going to be trying to hash out some of the stuff as far as like fees and benefits for you guys, because it's going to be something that if we're going to put a lot of effort into it and make it really nice, we're going to have to charge something or find some way to like off of people's sales kind of set up a way for us to generate larger revenue from that. But at the same time, we need to make sure that that's valuable enough to you all and really helps to grow your businesses enough to justify that for you. So we want to get the application out there so that we can start those discussions with you all and see what you think about the terms, see what you think about added benefits or added things that we could try and figure out to make it nice and comfortable for your businesses. But we will get that process started soon, and we'll have to make some videos about it as well.
You know what? That's a good idea. I think that, actually, before I continue and start going on a tangent, I should probably introduce myself, to be completely honest with you. Are you okay with that? Titles and all that?
Oh, absolutely. You were saying earlier, like, oh, I don't want to advertise or whatever. I have no problem with that, Rich. You've been a part of our community a long time. I think if anybody has some justification for advertising, you've definitely got it. But secondly, I want you to be able to talk about what you're interested in and what you feel like brought you into this community. So please do. I will say, you sounded a little bit robotic a second ago. I'm not sure if it was just a cutout of the Wi-Fi or whatever here, but I would worry people may not be able to hear you super clearly on the stream.
Yeah, I am actually, let me check. I think I'm in the middle of oh, actually, the sky's clear. And apparently you can see the stars. Never mind. I live in the valley, so Wi-Fi isn't necessarily the best. I literally have 1 bar of data and 3 bars of Wi-Fi, so if that tells you anything. Secondly, I will go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Richback. I'm not publicly disclosed on the micronational community my name or my official location or anything like that at all. Micronation is the United States. You couldn't tell by my accent. I'm a Northeasterner from Pennsylvania. I lead the Internet organization and the Pennsylvania Federation. The Internet organization is focused on like micronational websites and protecting them from external. I really haven't gotten around to formulating a plan for that yet. The Pennsylvania Federation, I think I spoke about this when I was talking about successor government. It is a successor government to the state of Pennsylvania. It aims to provide humanitarian aid to the local populations in order to gain favorability within the community. Basically, I want to take over the role of the state government and maybe win an election or two, maybe. So on my actual microwiki page, it says that, it's basically my entire history about how I'm basically not there's no personal information available to the public that can be actually listed in the information slot. So I just wrote the history and allowed everyone to kind of edit my page. So that's all. That's it. That's my entire thing. Just a thing from PA.
I was gonna say, first off, I think that's a great elevator pitch for our thing that we would do in the future. That sounds really cool, and I would love to learn more about the Pennsylvania Federation. It sounds unique. There are a lot of micronations that come in and say, I'm trying to take over the world. I'm trying to be the biggest, baddest thing I can possibly be. I want to have colonies on Jupiter. I want to have a full armada of ships. I want to have,
Yeah,
you know,
space
all,
communism.
yeah, all these big dreams, which I 100% support. Do you go big or go home? But I really like your approach. I like the concept that you're saying this is intended for a specific thing. We're targeting people in the Pennsylvania area. We're trying to do it for humanitarian aid. You have really clear goals and goals that I think would be not only admirable, they're just an honorable thing to do to help other people, but also there's something people can really connect to. You know what I mean? Anybody who's ever been like, wow, I hate it when there's like a freeze and my power shuts out, or I hate when, there's some difficult, there's a crazy storm or something, and people are like trapped and we're worried about stuff, or if there's ever like, issues with the water supply or whatever, you're there, and I think
Yeah,
that's something that people need. And the more that you tell people about that, a lot of micronations have this huge hurdle of, well, when I tell people about the concept, they're all weirded out because they think we're like some fringe group. But I think you're able to pretty well navigate around that, where people don't even think of it as a weird concept, because you're starting off by saying, I'm doing this for people in my local community, and its purpose is entirely to be a backup system to affect change within that local community. Like, I think people would just be on board. I'd be on board. That sounds really cool.
yeah. Do you kind of explain the whole like system behind it? It's
Yes.
simple. It only takes a second.
Yes, please. I will say, if you do explain it tonight,
So,
I'm hyped.
yeah.
Can you explain it as well on our future thing? I would love to hear it.
Oh yeah, I will definitely try my best to attend the what did you call it again? Like Micronational Shark Tank.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Micronational. Well, yeah, I'll try my best to explain it. Just I end up on there. Okay.
Sounds good.
So this is how the pitch would probably go. So I'm just gonna open up the Constitution really quick. It hasn't started yet, by the way,
Yes,
because
sir.
I need to read some things,
Get that
and
pitch
it's
fresh.
fairly short. I just need to open that. All right. What do we have here? Okay, so basically, it's the generic Constitution, but it has a few add-ons to it. Instead of having this ramshack, representation method without any sort of third-party representation, we use the Webster St. Loud method. It's basically a choose your preference voting style, where you choose the first party that you like the most, second party you like kind of mid, if anyone knows what that means, and then the third party you don't like at all, or you like the least. That lets people become more representative government, and it displays the public opinion a little better, more multi-cameral rather than bicameral, or two-party rather than three-party. That's the short part of it. The sort of kind of long part of it is state assimilation and acceptance. We want to bring Pennsylvania micronations together. How we're going to do that is we're going to state why we want them in the Federation. We want them to join because they have access to certain goods or supplies that we might need, or they have influence in their local communities that we haven't ourselves to yet. And so we'll say, well, you can join us, but you have to fly the Federation flag, play the anthem, but you get to keep all of the aspects of your micronation other than that. So your culture, your flag, your anthem, your democracy, you have to be a democracy, obviously, or else the federation just doesn't work. But most people in PA are pretty okay with that. It's just that you can't enter into like alliances without the consent of Congress. So basically, we revoke like your right to like join alliances and not be democratic. That's about it. You comply with like the needs of the state and stuff like that, and then you're in. That's about it. That's the whole pitch.
That's pretty cool.
You're basically just joining, to be helpful and gain influence. Because you're not just flying your flag, you're flying our flag. So our reputation increases along with yours.
Absolutely.
That's the whole pitch.
That's cool. I definitely like the like strength in numbers thing. I like the concept that you're trying to go for something that focuses again like on your local area. I think that has a lot of strengths to it. I would have one question for you. When someone becomes a part of the Pennsylvania Federation, a nation becomes a part of the Pennsylvania Federation, do they get any sort of you talked about the added clout. You talked about, of course, the goals that you already have in sort of humanitarian aid and in benefits that are just spread across Pennsylvania as a whole. Are there any specific benefits that a nation gets for becoming a part of the Pennsylvania Federation that they wouldn't get from a normal alliance or from, becoming like a vassal state to another kingdom or something like that?
I have had comments that it is sort of like an HRE or Holy Roman Empire, sort of, but without the empire. Anyways, to answer your question, the benefits of joining the Pennsylvania Federation is it you gain, like, I know I'm making a big deal of the clout, but the clout extends a lot farther than you might think. See, the goal all of these micronations is usually to either replace or run their area of state. And so, considering that we are a successor government, we are hoping that when they are accepted, they have that take over from the local government. It's the same thing. Keep the peace in that area of the state and run it like it was your own child. So basically, benefits other than clout equal self-government, legality, and just general states' rights. I mean, you get to have the rights of a state within a federation when you join. And that entails you being able to conduct your own business and become more than a micronation. We are letting you become greater than you already are. And that entails being at a higher standard, which we help you with. Because eventually, money, inadvertently, obviously, because the goal isn't necessarily to make money, it's to provide goods, so in that sense. But we will end up making money, which will let us fund operations to increase influence in the areas that have joined us. So you do end up getting money out of it if we come into power. It's kind of like a deal where it's conditional. If the ruling party is usurped and the party that deal comes to you then get the benefits of that deal. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, because this may be something that I was confused on initially in the pitch. What I thought originally was that your idea is to develop this, as you call it, a successor government, where essentially your government is assisting the state of Pennsylvania in the ways that it needs. So, for example, with providing things for humanitarian aid during disasters, for helping out with excess, power grid issues, stuff like that. Even just like having groups of people who are ready to volunteer and assist. And then any other time your nations kind of take a back seat, your federation takes a back seat to the other, law enforcement, local governments. But the more that I hear it, is your government attempting to be a successor in the sense that it would eventually become the official governance of Pennsylvania? Or is it more like I thought originally, where it's almost like a dual like partnership with the government of Pennsylvania currently?
I think I was asked this question before a while ago when I tried to. So that passed. We haven't decided whether or not to take over, but I guess given our influence at the point that we are able to take over, or by the time we're able to help out like that on such a large scale, we'll be so known that it would not be very hard to take over. It would have to come to a vote whether or not we try to replace the government. So that question in and of itself is literally up to the states. We have to vote by a 2/3 majority in order to decide to take over. It is literally, it's not written in the Constitution yet, considering that we haven't gotten that far. But what we will do is we will hold a voting session where we say how we do it, why we want to, and it's going to take place, like national referendum, who's going to hold it, how are we going to get the money for it, We're going to let people state their opinion, see who comes out on top. So your question's unique in that it literally, this is all relying on this to decide. This is a state decision.
I respect
So, yeah.
I was gonna say, I think one of the things that's interesting about the setup that you're looking at here is that I think a lot of micronations have this issue where they're actively trying to create something very, very different than what their current macronation is involved in. So a lot of the time you'll see, monarchies where there are democracies and so on and so forth. But because your federation mirrors so closely the normal Pennsylvania government and the normal U.S. government, I think, of course there are significant differences, but I think it would almost be a very simple process, I think, if you got to that scale to do what you're talking about. I don't even think it would be like a takeover, because it sounds almost like you would already be running for offices. You would already be assisting the community and being a supplement for the resources that are already there. And you would be doing that because of the will of the people that live in Pennsylvania. You're not asking for outside support from people who may have nefarious plots to outside sources from Pennsylvania. You're not dealing with any situation where you're trying to install an entirely different government style to Pennsylvania. Other than the fact that you have these smaller federated states. But I think if you got to that point, you were already like, you already had the governor of Pennsylvania that was like a part of this. You already had like all of these different smaller local governments that were run and had offices as a part of the federation. I think it would pretty much be like a name change at that point. Like you'd just be like, we're no longer Pennsylvania, we're the Federation of Pennsylvania, but all of our infrastructure, everything that we've built over the last 10, 20, however many years it takes you to do that, would naturally kind of fall into the same place. It seems like it'd be a very unique mesh. It seems like there's not too many other micronations that would be able to kind of casually just like walk into the role of the government that was there before. Most other micronations would have to have some like pretty distinct moment where like everything's changing now. But it seems like yours has the benefit that you could almost just silently do it and nobody would really care because it's not that big a difference.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. I think that this is probably one of the more realistic approaches to state control, like becoming the state.
Mhm.
It's more, it's realistic in a U.S. sense.
Mhm.
You know, it really catches the eye too because it signals a change in the winds for people, but not so much as it causes national confusion and revolution. You know, it makes people kind of believe that there's a positive force for change in the local communities that cares about the population around national government that doesn't really have time to care for those kinds of communities. I think you're right in saying that the transition would literally just be a name change from Confederation to Federation. Or not Confederation. Pennsylvania is a commonwealth at the moment, so it really just depends on how the government officials react, and that their reaction will be kind of, they'll be fine with it, you know, at that point, because there'd probably be representatives in the government at that point that you're saying. Anyway, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm gonna end it there. You're right.
I appreciate it. I definitely agree. I think that is absolutely one of the more realistic approaches I've heard to actually trying to gain control over a specific territory that already has, you know, its own government, its own infrastructure and stuff. One of the questions I would ask you then, at that point, because it does seem like you're focused specifically on Pennsylvania, it does seem like you have these ideologies that are based around, you know, the legitimate support of the people of Pennsylvania. Would you then just sort of work in the U.S. government? Like, would you just effectively change the state government of Pennsylvania to be a slight shift into the Federation of Pennsylvania or the Pennsylvania Federation, instead of being the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania? And then just be like, but we're still the state of Pennsylvania, like we're still gonna have representatives in U.S. Congress and do all that? Or would it be like a shift from that? Because I feel like that's kind of a determining question, getting to that point where it would be where you would either get more controversy or you would have more of a natural transition.
Quite like, I have been toiling head for weeks, and I think I have come up with an answer. So, considering the fact that the Federation of Pennsylvania is already formed, okay, we're at this point, that it's already there, and that it has some semblance of national government already set up, I think that the point would be into other states and kind of had influence into those states and basically form a rival government to the United States without, you know, totally usurping that idea of democracy, you know. So, and it's the same issue. You would have to leave it up to the states to decide this. You would have to put it to a vote and say, do we want to expand or do we want to integrate into the union? And I would think that given the fact that most of these representatives would be micronationals in some respects, they probably choose to expand into Canada and New York and New Jersey and Ohio and all those places, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I mean, eventually we would have at least half the United States under our control if all went to plan after that decision was made. Now, the second scenario where we join the union and had representatives, we'd probably gain autonomous status, like a associated state almost, or Gorbachev put this pretty correctly. When he wrote the new union piece of legislation, he made it so that each Soviet republic was sovereign and had representation in the government, and was able to kind of conduct its own business outside of the USSR. So I think we would gain a similar status to that of a sovereign republic almost. Representatives in government, but also embassies in the capital.
Absolutely. Let me see. We have another person as well who's trying to join in. Let me see if I
Lots
can
of people going to bed.
add them. Absolutely. There are a lot of people. We have 8 viewers though. It's kind of jumping in and out. Although we have somebody else trying to join the space. Let's see if this person's going to join. Yeah. Let's see how this
I don't know
works.
if I pronounced that right. I'm sorry.
Ooh, they jumped in. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the space. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just working on some of the server stuff for the Senya's digital infrastructure.
Very exciting. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I was saying we were just talking about Rich's nation that he's developing, the Federation of Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Federation. If you don't mind us pivoting a little bit, Rich, tell me about the United Syndicate of Senya. I haven't heard much about you guys, but I'm excited to learn more.
So Senya is basically it started as a while ago as Columbustan, like it was forever ago, and it's kind of this weird mixture of a confederation and this kind of weird mix and kind of so basically the idea is that we have these groups called syndicates, and these syndicates are basically workers owned government, worker owned kind of companies type thing. They're owned by the workers and controlled by the workers rather than a boss. And then the idea is that those workers will be allowed from their syndicate to join the workers' council, basically, which basically is the legislative form of government.
So they developed from these economic roots in developing not even necessarily private industry, these collectivized industries, these cooperative industries into a a cooperative form of government. They're expanding from a local economic enterprise into a more federated, specifically governmental enterprise.
Well, it's really designed so that the middle class will. So basically, the idea is that we want the workers' opinions in government, rather than usually someone who's rich and powerful. The idea is that they'll get voted in through basically performance, and basically if you work harder you'll to they're voted in through a popular vote, and then based on the performance they'll get different jobs. Like if you get like if you end up having a very high status when it comes to say building servers. You build the servers, and you end up like doing most of the, someone else gets elected. There, and you and someone else gets elected in the same syndicate. You who put in the effort will get. You might not be the rich and powerful. You will end up getting more credit and getting more of a higher rank in government. It's based around the effort, and basically we don't. Once I start with the idea behind it, no. Once I start like the economics of it, it's a very work in progress. Even though it's really old, it's very work in progress. I just kind of. Sorry, I'm really shy right now.
No, you're all good. I wanted to tell you, first off, thank you for sharing with us. One, it's not easy at all to share stuff, especially on an online thing. I do give you a ton of credit for that. As well, I wanted to say, it sounds like you have a good idea. It sounds like you have this way for people to start at an individual level and continue to grow up until they're able to pursue things even at the highest level of government. I think that's super noble. And I would say as well, I know you said this is a project that's a work in progress, and it sounds like you're well on your way to developing that. I would ask, we are hoping to do. I'm not sure if you've heard of the Empire of Aeternia at all. We do stuff on YouTube. We are trying out now stuff on Twitter Spaces. We're actually doing a live stream right now on YouTube. But I am curious. We're hoping to host at some point soon via our Discord and via our YouTube live stream, maybe even this Twitter space, within the next few weeks or so. We want to host effectively a micronational Shark Tank, where we'll get hopefully somebody like somebody from West Arctica or Molossia or Ruritania, somebody that's fairly well known in the community, or maybe a few, to kind of become a panel of judges and to do a micronational Shark Tank, where we talk to different micronations who are either still developing, who are brand new and who are trying to advertise their nations, or people who just haven't, for whatever reason, become real well known. And we want to give a shout out to those people. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear your elevator pitch for your nation. Why, if we didn't have a nation at all, why we should invest and join in your nation. Why we should give our lives to support the cause of your nation. And you give us that pitch, and we talk about it, and we share ideas about it. Do you think if we were to do that, and you had your game plan, and you wrote everything down, and you had your government established like you want to, would you join us and give your elevator pitch to us?
Yeah.
How do you do that? A live stream with you, Triple S.
It sounds interesting, actually. It sounds really fun, too.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm excited about it. And I think a lot of people would be excited to hear about the United Syndicate of Sinya.
this symbol color on a t-shirt, so you're not like super fitted out, but you're looking nice. Your pants, which make it like everyone's wearing, loving and stuff always with camera stuff.
A couple things. First off, Rich, I do have a question. How do you feel about so far the United Syndicates of Senia's pitch? As well, when we hear your opinion, I have another question for you guys. It's going to open it up because I notice you guys are both fairly democratic micronations, it seems. I could be wrong about USINIA. The Federation of Pennsylvania from RITRAC, I know, is, as a federation, we've been talking about it for a little bit, is very democratic. It seems like Sinia is fairly democratic as well. Discussing all of that, I will have a question for you guys in just a moment. But Rich, how you feel about Sinia? I want to see if we can incorporate
I mean,
some of the new stuff.
hold on, is this working?
Yeah, with the
Is this
letters.
working? Say, is this working?
I can hear you.
Honestly, listen, I don't know very much about syndicalism. All I really know is that it's fairly democratic. Like, it's actually not a bad process, to be completely honest with you. I mean, it's actually, in some ways, superior to democracy in a couple of ways. Although I'm not well versed in syndicalism or its operations, but I've heard good things about it. So honestly, okay, so in the sense of syndicalism in my micronation, it would be totally representative because the idea behind like incorporating other states into the federation is literally having them represent that area of their like claim. So, for example, if Washington D.C. ever came under our own umbrella, the United Syndicates of Senia would probably lead the representative area of that. So it would probably, honestly, I think the United States of Senia has a really good idea on their hands, and I can tell that they're technologically oriented, just like myself, so probably get along if we were ever to encounter each other on real life, actually. So, I like them. They're cool. They have good ideas. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Like any other I think that works well.
How democratic is syndicalism, though?
It's hard to explain because it's not like the syndicalism. It's not really, at least there's multiple different interpretations of syndicalism. There isn't like a set, like there's anarcho-syndicalism, there's a whole bunch of other ones.
Yeah, the different things.
What I personally follow is kind of democratic syndicalism where we're basically, because the idea of syndicalism is that the companies are owned by the workers, and the government is controlled by representatives from those companies, because you want the syndicates, which are basically a kind of a syndicates are basically just companies, but owned by the union or something like that. And the idea is that the union doesn't just have power in the companies. They're owned by the kind of not controlling the government, but a part of the government as most of the time controlling the government. But I personally believe that the little the pieces of the union or syndicate is really controlled by should be hand in hand with government, not the government, but not controlled by the government. They should work together.
So equal partners in an equal relationship, basically.
Yeah, because if you have the government control the unions, then the government is gonna become the bourgeoisie basically, and start basically a dictatorship. But if if the union controls the government, then nothing gets done.
That's a good analysis. It's something I can stand behind. I think that you've chosen a superior system in terms of syndicalism and its various wings because of the equality between the corporation, the unions and the government being equal in representation and power in government create a sort of balance, I guess you could say. I mean, it's the same thing, but what am I even saying? That basically, you have chosen the superior form of syndicalism, I think. Just like I have chosen the superior form of federalism, where we use Webster's sample algorithm and all that to do.
Aeternia, are you on our Discord? I sent a link on the Discord. I definitely appreciate. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I appreciate you sharing, Sinya, as well. I do think it's interesting. I don't know a ton about syndicalism either, but it definitely sounds interesting. I'm curious to learn more as you all continue to develop. It does sound like a unique infrastructure. As well, I did want to ask, both of you being fairly democratic nations, and especially now that I've learned about Sinya's setup, it seems very, very democratic and trying to be very equal. Having representation, I've noticed, in micronationalism seems to be fairly difficult because of this idea that you have a group of people who are all trying to make a nation, but none of them, for the most part, have this as any sort of financial incentive. Nobody is being paid to run this micronation. Nobody is able to commit to this as like a full-time job, for example. So that being the case, how do democratic micronations, or at least in your specific cases, how have you found is a good way to get people involved and to try to develop participation in a way that allows your government to move forward efficiently? I know, Sinya, you're still developing things, so this may not be something that you can attest to as, well, we've done this and this and this, but maybe you can share what you've seen of other micronations or other countries and what you think Sinya would do to develop that. Because I know in the development of Aeternia, that's been one of the very difficult things for us, but it's also been a benefit as a monarchy in the sense that we want as much citizen participation as we can. So in that way, though we're not officially democratic, we try to be as representative as possible. But a lot of the time when we're doing things, when we're having to make split-second decisions, we aren't really able to get a lot of feedback. So we'll post things like we do on our YouTube and on our Twitter and Discord and all of that, and we'll get people's support or people's comments and feedback, and we'll adjust after the fact. But a lot of the time, if we were to stop and say, hey, before we create this solar panel, how does everybody feel about us putting our time and effort today toward this solar panel? Or, hey, what do you guys think about this live stream versus this live stream? Or what do you guys think about, even things as big as like our land purchase, where we're trying to decide about how large amounts of money are going to be spent, or what the direction of the time and effort of our nation is going to be for a while. A lot of the time I find myself as the monarch just having to make that decision and then talking to people about it as it progresses. That's certainly not I think the most representative way or the most democratic way to do it. But again, as a monarchy, we just kind of are afforded the ability to push forward and see what happens. I imagine for you all being more altruistic and really trying to get this group participation in the government actively. How do you see that going for democracies and specifically democratic micronations?
Well, Sonia, I think that I've had too much airtime, so I'm gonna let you speak unless you need more time to prepare.
So from at least from what I've been seeing with my older projects, because I have done other micronations before with Columbus Dan, and with Columbus Dan, for a while it was a democracy, but that was we did that. It started out as a democracy. The reason why we converted it was because everyone became inactive, but at the same time, when it was a democracy, what we did was how we got everyone involved was that we were all friends. We were all friends. We basically just kind of and we started Columbus Dan as kind of a friend project, and then we for a while when we finished we made laws. We made laws in the democratic manner because we thought it was fun. I think adding fun to micronational democracies is kind of an important factor because how it kind of went to monarchy was because we thought, hey, we need to become more serious. We can't just sit around. We can't just like we gotta be more serious and stuff. We can't just sit around making joke laws all day. So we so we all voted on it and it became less fun, and then it kind of failed because no one was interested. So I think one of the major factors of a democratic nation is to at least have some fun in the at least allow some fun in the democratic process.
You know what? I really agree with that. I think that fun really makes a micronation shine to its fullest extent and lets its people kind of themselves in a more pleasant and easier life. You know, it kind of lessens the burden of becoming professional and becoming more inclusive to it. It lets people kind of figure out how the system works before making any serious changes. You know, it makes a less experienced person kind of think about what they're going to say next, whether they want to do something fun or something serious or something. And I guess I should continue on and say how I would do it, but I gotta agree with Senya here. It does sound like fun might be the best way to go about it, especially for democracy. It's pretty hard to pull off in micronations because people are inactive. They don't really have like the drive anymore to be involved in government unless you provide it. And the fund really provides the drive for some people. You know. I'm gonna let Emperor AP jump in here to provide a feedback on this statement.
Just like you said, Rich, I completely agree with Senya. I think Fun. I'm dropping everything. I think fun is a huge part of micronationalism and the way that we develop our communities. You know, allowing people participation to decide things and to create their own interests and see that grow in a micronation really makes you feel energetic about it and makes you feel a part of it and that in and of itself generates new ideas. When one person comes up with something cool, it becomes like a feedback loop where other people start chiming in, more things are made, more things are developed, and I've seen a ton of micronations develop that like that, especially when I follow groups on like Instagram and Twitter, where you'll see like one or two posts that have like one person and their kind of stuff, and then you'll see they're like, oh, we got our friends involved, and then like the friends are posting stuff, and you'll see like there are different groups of people in different areas posting different things, and they'll be posting different types of art or different pictures of them doing different things out in the world, and that's one of the most exciting aspects of micronationalism to me. um, Going back to that, we have another person that jumped in. The Republic of, hold on, let me see this. We got more people joining the space. The Republic of Kelko joined in. Let me add them. But real quick, I do want to say, I want to hear Rich's continuation if he wanted to on how he has dealt with that. But at a certain point, I would like to talk about as well. So that being the case, Sinya brought up something that was really interesting on the concept of decline and of the idea that people get stagnant or people fall off. You talked about, I believe you called it Columbustan. I don't want to mispronounce the name of your nation. But your previous project, you talked about how you had developed it with your friends, and there was this big energy and there was this excitement for developing it, and then at some point it fell off. And I think that's one of the struggles of being a democratic micronation as well, is that it's one of the most beautiful forms of micronationalism, because a lot of the time it is this group that comes together and really shows their interest in what a country should be and how they should be developing. But I think because it's not started by one person as well, a lot of the time when you see that initial group of founders start to have to break away and do other things, then there's a quicker tipping point than there may be for a micronation that was created by one person. Because if that one person struggles for a long time to get a few people and then those people leave, well, they're pretty much just back to square one, which sucks, but they can choose at that point whether or not they want to call it quits or whether they want to continue. But if you started this thing with your friends and it was really developed and the culture was developed around this core group of founders, and then that core group of founders is reduced to half of its size or a quarter of its size or even just down to one person, then at that point it may not feel like the same thing anymore. It may not feel like it's worth continuing, and that's super disheartening. But I know that's also just part of the evolution of groups. People do different stuff, people have different things going on in their lives, and I hate that that's a more difficult part of democratic nations. But I'm curious if there are ways to overcome that, or if that's just kind of the nature of the beast.
I assume this is where I jumped in. Quite literally, I'm still trying to figure out how to deal with inactivity in the internet organization, which is one of the other things that in the past couple of years in micronationalism. It's not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't able to find a solution to its decline, but people stayed around and stayed in the server, which is more than I can say for other places. Which means that people did, at one point in time, believe that it could have been something. And I think that it meant forming culture, which is a key tenet of keeping people engaged. If you are able to create a culture of activity and just like coding and like talking in general, sharing memes, you will get very far. And I've observed this in Minecraft servers, of all things. Now, there's a server called, I'm not gonna actually name it, it's whatever, but anyways, I've been in plenty of Minecraft servers and staff and non-staff, and the more they professionalize, the more popular they get, but it also costs more money and more money and more money to keep them running. And they usually diverge from either pay to win or not pay to win. Or in the Micronation's case, for payment or taxation, or no payment or no taxation. Now, obviously, there's a middle ground. There's always a middle ground. Voluntary taxation, I think, is the middle ground. But regardless, these servers, Minecraft servers, tend to fall into cycles of inactivity, and they themselves every couple of months. And this is kind of like a ship of Theseus. The more you reset something, the less of the original item there is, So if you replace the wood on a ship left in the book, the ship of Theseus, and you replace the wood over and over and over again, you replace the final piece of the original ship, that ship is no longer the original ship in totality. And it's the same when you change culture. Is it the same culture that it was if it includes the same people? Usually the answer is those people should integrate with the new, but largely the answer is no, because those people are now following a different order. Transition this to a micronationalist sense. There's always like 10 new micronations popping up every so often on the subreddit or on MicroWiki or Twitter. Well, now I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that the consensus on why these pop up is reinvention. That is literally what they are for. These accounts that pop up are the reinvention of micronations to try and get more members and be more epic, as they would say. And it's bad for the micronational community. Means that ability is low. So, to prevent the need to reinvent for your micronation, make a culture or a language or something that you like to do or keep or read or, corporations that you want to encompass into your government or just create a culture that people believe in, and you will likely flourish. I can't say on that, but that's my belief on the subject of culture affecting activity, and activity being direct connection with culture.
I was gonna say I really respect that. I also like the concept that you brought up, and I want to kind of you talked about it as kind of micronational revival, so to speak. I thought it was funny because I imagined like literal reincarnation, the concept of somebody dying and then coming back as something else. Micronational reincarnation sounds like a funny thing, but it It makes a lot of sense. I think that's definitely what happens where uh, people, I mean, even in our Discord server and stuff, you will see, or in other Micronations Discord servers, I've had difficulty because I will get invited to a number of different Discord servers for other Micronations, and I will join them. And I've limited the number of Discord servers that I join now simply because I'll see a Micronation start a Discord server. They'll go through it for a while. The Discord server will start dying down in the number of people that speak. They'll still be growing in the amount of people that are there because a lot of people come and just stay and never leave the server, but they'll really decrease in the activity. So once there's a point where it's really slow, a whole bunch of people will start going, oh, this server's dead. This server's dead. Oh, this is trash. The server's dead, whatever. And they'll eventually the people will shut it down, and it's really sad, but they'll just stop working on it and they'll close it down. And then that same person who's been in our Discord server, who invited me to theirs this whole time, will come up with a new one and they'll send it again. And then pretty much all the same people will be joining back into it. And it's just funny to see that. And the cycle will happen again. It's funny to see that. It's sad because these people are, losing these projects. But it's interesting to see this cycle of like literal reincarnation where the nation's dying and then it's coming back, and it's technically a new thing. Everybody recognizes it as unique and different from the thing it was originally, like the ship of Theseus you brought up, Rich. But at the same time, it's kind of the same. Like, it's the same people running it. A lot of the times the same people who are joining the server, or mostly the same people. And you can tell there's still that same like feeling. There's a lot of the same energy there. So I just think that's kind of funny and kind of ironic because there may not be a good solution to it, but I guarantee you, if you could find a way to overcome that initial, maybe it's just sticking with it or something, but if you could overcome that initial closing down of the server, that initial death, so to speak, then you may not need to reincarnate at all. You could pretty much just have another peak time at some point, because it seems like they're just hitting the reset button. They're getting that peak again by doing the reincarnation, and there may be a point where it's not necessary. Bless you. But that was great. I appreciate it, Rich. Cindy, did you have anything you wanted to add? If not, I'll go ahead and throw it back to Rich or whoever else wants to talk. Actively, I'm continuing to cut up these pieces for the solar panel. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 done. So I have at least enough for one small 12-volt solar panel, and probably a little bit more. So as we continue on, I'm going to continue to cut these up and try and salvage more, but we're starting to make progress. I just want you guys to know that for those of you watching the stream and for those of you here in our very first Twitter Spaces hangout, which I appreciate, we're trying to make progress. We're doing our stuff for MicroCon. Tiff's in the back. They're drawing some of our stuff. If you guys in the spaces aren't actively a part of our stream, I recommend you jump in because it's a lot of fun. You can kind of see what I'm doing actively on there. And I just think this is cool. It's cool to be able to talk to other micronational leaders and people who are doing all of this with us, and to be at the point now where we have our own land purchase. We're starting to make things that we're going to set up out there and be able to film and show you guys updates of. All the while we're discussing these concepts for how this community grows and how it exists. And I just want all of you out there to know that if you feel like you're at a point where there's nobody hanging out, there's nobody supporting your thing, where you feel like, why don't I just give up on this? I was right there. I really was, and it's something that sucks. It's something that's difficult, but if you do keep pushing, whether that's reinventing yourself, whether that's deciding that you need some change or whatever, if you continue to be in this community and you continue to grow, I'm confident that you will find the things that you want. It's never easy. It's always going to take a lot, and it's probably not going to happen when you want it to, or even when you think it will. But I'm sitting here today, and it feels surreal to be in the position that we're at now. I hope that I can give you all some hope with that, and I hope that I can be, in some respect, here as someone to help. If anybody needs anything, if anybody wants to talk or whatever, I'm on the Discord. You can email me at aeternianempire@gmail.com. You can, send us a message in our comments or whatever on YouTube videos, and I'll get back to you. I don't get back to everybody right away. It's difficult for me to answer everybody, but I really do want to help, and I just want you to know that I've been in that spot.
That's nice of you. I think that's there are not 8 people watching. There's 9 people watching this. I don't think it's a rare.
Yeah, so far on my end it says, like 9 people watching, 8 likes. Thank you guys for the likes, and thank you guys for hanging out. It does mean a lot. If you guys haven't liked, please do. It helps to get more people in the Twitter space, and it helps to get more people in the live stream. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here and giving your comments. Raz, I appreciate you being here. You've been here for a very long time. Jadonia, is that you as our other person? If not, I appreciate you joining it. Victor Von Doom, Lord Von Doom, it's great to see you in our chat as well. If you have Twitter, I'm not sure if you're interested in Twitter, if you have Twitter. If you do, you're more than welcome to join in our conversation. I would love to hear from you. I hope everything in your home and with your family has been well. I actually talked to Lord Von Doom this afternoon in kind of a personal call, just discussing our nations and talking about ideas and stuff. And so I appreciate you all. It's cool to get to meet people like Rich, that I'd never heard the voice of before until today. That like Lord Von Doom, who I'd never seen until today. This is incredible, and I feel lucky for all this. So I jumped off topic really, really hard, but talking about micronations, democracies, I mean, I feel like if I were starting a micronation today, if I were to create a democracy, my big push would be to try and get consistency, because like you all said, that's the thing that democracies live or die by, having that culture, having something that sticks with it. But I think Rich really hit on something nice that I couldn't help but come back to talk about, which was creating kind of a long-lasting culture. You brought up that for the Internet organization, how even though things may have changed, you may have joined onto another project that you're focusing more on now or whatever, people still stuck around. People, even though there was a drop in activity or whatever, people still believed in it and continued on its legacy for themselves with or without that formal push. And so I think that's really admirable. And like you said, it shows that people believed in it, but it also shows that you created something that people can use. You created something of value that people still had as a tool to continue their own growth and a place to be able to continue to talk and to trade ideas. So that being the case, like you said with a language, coming up with something that's value extends beyond the activity of your nation. Of course, people want that engagement. Of course, people want to hear people talking back and forth. And the more that you reach out to people, the more that you're active, the more that you'll keep people around. But if you have something of value when everything is dead silent, and somebody's going to come in and start the conversation all on their own. When they find something and it feels like buried treasure to them, they want to continue talking about it. They want to start bringing things back and picking up the slack of that. I encourage you all to try and do that. It's like finding a diamond in the rough. It's hard to do, and I'm way oversimplifying it. But that long-term development, that creating things that have that value for other people, when you have that, it kind of changes the course, I think, for a lot of micronations, and it helps to keep them alive even through those ebbs and flows, those waxing and wanings of activity.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. However, I'm gonna, does anyone else want to speak on this? I've been on air for so long.
You excited?
I might actually go to bed soon because it is 1:35 a.m.
Oh yes, sir. I more than understand. It's 12:36 here, and I definitely get that. We're probably gonna stay on for a little while longer, but we won't stay on too much longer. I really appreciate you, Rich. Like I said, I really appreciated. We've met before through interactions online, but I appreciate hearing your voice. It's nice to get to know you more deeply, and I hope we can do this again. Like I said, I'm excited for future events, and I hope we get into more Twitter Spaces together. I hope we keep talking.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna send you that link really quick regarding the energy generation thing. Quickly go to that link. Okay.
That's perfect. I see I got like a YouTube link from you and maybe like a micro wiki. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a micro wiki for myself. It's basically everything I've done from day one to now.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I appreciate it. I will have to go back and check those out after the stream. But thank you so much, Rich, and I really appreciate it. I hope you have a good night. I hope you have a great tomorrow, and we will continue the progress of micronationalism at another point.
Yeah. I think I can say anything. I'm going to say good night. I gotta wake up tomorrow, I think. I think I'm gonna review something. I don't know.
Yes, sir. Well, I hope you have a good night.
Good night. Yeah, you too. Yeah.
Hey, very cool. Okay, again, thank you so much for Rich joining us tonight. Everybody in the comments. Richard also said he's gonna get some sleep there in the live stream. So Richard, I hope you have a good night as well. Richard Taylor, if everybody doesn't know, one of our longest standing citizens, the person who came up with the term Aeternia forever, one of our proudest mottos, and in fact our most popular motto, and I really appreciate him. Thank you so much, Richard, for joining us tonight, for continuing to be a part of our advancement, and I will see you soon. We need to talk more about the RV and stuff. Richard talked about how he wants to create kind of this mobile home, mobile living station for Aeternia, and to kind of be able to set himself up on our land. Tiffany is excited because she wants to show me her cool design for my outfit, which I'm super hype about. I've been needing like a wardrobe revamp for my official uniform for a minute, so we're gonna have some kind of unveiling of that in just a moment. Real quick, I want to update. Kelko says, okay, wait, hold up. Kelko might be the person who is. I think they are. Kelko is the person who is in here as well. Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Kelko. Kelko is in both listening to the space right now and is in the comments of our live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Kelko says, or Cuppy, the Prime Minister of Kelco, says, it's a cool space. I can't talk today. I completely understand. I hope you can join us next time and talk. Thank you so much for being here. I do want to answer their question real quick. Beliga says they have a video nearly made for Aeternia. I can't wait to see it. Please hit me up when you're done with it. Or if you want to send a clip or whatever, I'd love to post it to our social media. Cuppy says, what do you think about Stemeria condemning you? I think it sucks. I know people have complained that our reaction video to that is like 3 hours long. It is really long. I want to eventually go back and put like earmarks in it, different points, so that people can kind of know the different sections. But if you go past about an hour into the stream, that's where we go from the live, my first time reacting and seeing that video, viewing it and talking to you guys about it, to actually me discussing the events of the scenario and everything. That's a very long form video. That's, really all I'm going to post about it, because I don't want to give it more attention. I don't want to continue to give like SEO to that, and continue to make it a more trending topic. But I do want to say, I'm really sad about it. I don't condemn Stemeria in any way. I don't think that's appropriate. I feel like they have misjudged us. We have continued to hold to the agreement that we set up with them. We've had extenuating circumstances, which we explained a number of times to them. And ultimately, I'm just hurt. I feel like because of their brash reaction, a lot of our community was kind of bullied for their support of us. They really, really came out strong against us, and I think it's unwarranted. So I'm sorry for that. I wish them all the best. We don't condemn them. We don't do that. But good luck to them, I guess. They won't be having too much connection to us anymore. But Tiffany is so excited. She's looking at me really, really hard. I see that cute face in the background of the video and right here in front of me. Tiffany, please take it away and unveil to us the great update of AP's wardrobe. I'm excited to see it.
So I haven't done the back of it, but the back of it will have the big symbol
Ooh,
centered on the back.
you have that
Because I think
superhero
it'll
cape.
look nice there.
Okay.
So you have the wraps.
Mhm.
Those wraps make me think of like monk style stuff.
Mhm.
So I think that may be a relative something simple, but like flowy with it.
Well, I think it's cute. It's like a, it's on.
I like it. That doesn't have to be yellow. Like some of the things that I was looking at to try to get a reference for how I want to do it. This is like the same color
Yeah.
as this, but I figure incorporating some of the yellow to make it pop more also adds. But we can make that not yellow, considering that the back's gonna have yellow on it. That belt can be yellow. Your wraps down there are gonna be black. The pants are gonna be about a purplish color to match this, so it all flows together.
Yeah. I think it's really pretty. I like it. Do you mind if I show the camera? So this is what she has. She has one that's like a, the more regal sort of thing. I really like vests, and she was super thoughtful to incorporate a vest. So we have these leg wraps. She kind of erased them here, but I'm starting to get into these leg wraps, which we actually came up with on another stream, and that I've actually made. I haven't filmed myself with the leg wraps yet, but I want to, because I've been starting to wear them as a part of my like regular outfit for Aeternia. But she has this very cool like regal sort of normal suit, traditional look for a monarch. And then she also has over here this one that's like a almost like a kimono style. I kind of like it. It's like a robe.
I could do them on the same. We would completely match.
Yeah,
And it would look good on both. It's a unisex kind of thing.
I agree. It's kind of a robe here. It has like a tie-off belt, a cloth belt. It has like a wrap. I would love to like look up like references for this online, because I know there are some that have like really bunched like wavy things. I know there are some that are really like tight fitting. I'm curious to see how this would look in the like cloth, but it looks pretty cool. I'm excited.
This is the one I used as a reference. I thought it looked
Ooh.
cool and nice, so it looks tight fitting up top, but then it allows the flow on the bottom, which would go with the flow of the pants underneath, and then to the tighter, so it makes a more defined thing. And we can add any kind of cool little like swirly things if you feel like there's something that's specific to Aeternia and start like adding that on the bottoms as well. But it would be like a rather long thing. But yes, it's very unisex.
I definitely like it. It's very cool, and it
And I
does have
figured that
match.
like if we had this symbol up here,
Mhm.
then on the ends of the tie-off belt, we'd
Yeah.
have like in black the symbol just showing it off in multiple different points.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a thing that I want to bring up at some point.
And we could cut it like that too, or we could just do where it's like solid here,
Mm,
and then
there's-
the back is a separate thing, so it
So that it-
splits like that at the end.
Yeah.
So there's two splits for the sides, and then you have the one
One for the
specifically for the back.
So you still
That
have
allows them
strap.
more flow, but not as much like cut out. Because they have like 3 or 4 different cut. They have like a piece, a piece, a piece, a piece. They have like probably 6 different little things on theirs.
I appreciate it. I was gonna say, first off, I definitely like the robe style. I want to see if we can make it more uniquely Aeternia. Like
We can.
it's fairly
fine.
like like the Asian style. I do like it though. I've always been inspired by that, and I think it's very cool. I also think one of the big difficulties is a lot of micronations have their uniforms as these very regal looking things. These things that are these suits, these things that you see modern politicians in, these things that you see modern royalty in, which of course are par for the course. They're standard, and they show a modern appeal. But at the same time, I want something practical for us as well. We're gonna be working and living out on this land that we're developing.
Well,
We're,
these are specifically like
for microcon
they're
and
practical,
the fancy
but
things.
also like more the fancier kind of events.
Absolutely. And so I'm not saying we need to have these uniforms when we're like toiling the field, but at the same time, if we can use this to incorporate like an Eternian style and like a cultural like outfit kind of theme,
It can't be a mix. Like it's
yeah, then we can
Like
have like
clothing-
simpler clothes.
like
that-
clothing. So there's already like a lot of clothing styles. Really, the only thing that you can change on a type of shirt, like they pretty much made all kinds of shirts that are V-necks. What's the other one? Just like a rounded out neck, whatever that's called.
like a crew neck.
Yeah, and they have like the kimono stuff. You have like which I mean, semi kimono, semi like the Pope wears like a robe thing too.
Yeah, that's true, and that's like, a European
yeah, I
style.
mean it's just a thing where like there's already so many styles. I feel like you can't change the way that the thing flows because there's already so many just made the same. So you are just gonna somewhat be
Have overlap.
yeah, you're gonna have overlaps.
Yeah.
But like the thing that makes the difference between one clothing line and another is one, the materials that you're using. Two, like what you put on it.
Mm.
What you put on it is what makes it like that special new thing.
I
I
agree.
feel like coming up with like completely new style is gonna be like super tough.
Right.
Like you're just gonna be intermixing other things.
Well, and that was the key, that I wanted to hit on, is not so much that we're trying to create like an entirely new thing, but like mixing and matching. One of the things, in addition to like the kimono robe style that I really like, is also this idea of like, I've seen, how there's like the turban head wraps and stuff that have like, they go over the shoulders a little bit? I like the idea that instead of having the full head wrap connection, having like a scarf that kind of goes over the shoulders a little bit, that kind of gives that like flowy look. It may be too much, especially with the like light, like skinny look of the like kimono style. It may not fit well, but I'd be curious to see how that would look, like if you had like a very light,
But really,
kind
all
of
those
draping or
like the
something.
kimonos and stuff are to like show your torso like look and
Mhm.
its shape, but it's not meant to like be completely on like showing off your legs or your butt or like whatever. It's to allow it to flow through there and just be like, yeah. I mean, you still kind of get like a fitted, but I mean, you also decide how fitted it is because it's like a thing where you like wrap it around. You can make it looser. There's the belt. You can make the belt thing looser. Like it doesn't have to be like freakishly tight and
Absolutely.
showing off your body. It could be whatever.
And I do really like that. Like the idea that it's a style that is not only unisex, but is also nice for different body types, because I would really hate to say, okay, we're gonna have like spandex suits, and some people be like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't feel good, like I don't want to look good, I don't want to like dress in a spandex suit. That feels uncomfortable for like the way that I normally dress. That feels like very out of my comfort zone. At the same time, I don't want to make something that like is also like really expensive and that people need to purchase like a lot of different things to like put together. I really want it to be something that someone can dress up themselves and like and feel proud of and excited about, and that isn't too difficult. But I do think like adding accents, like you talked about, the way that you style it and embroider it, the maybe the little like accessory things, like a like a shoulder wrap or like a pendant or something that gets added to it that kind of makes it unique and makes it, even though it's the same base, have a different cultural feel. Also, I'm sorry, United Syndicate of Sinya, I saw earlier that you like unmuted yourself a while back, and now you've muted yourself again. Was there something you wanted to say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I didn't want to say anything. I just asked. So they put.
Oh, my apologies. What did you want to ask?
Well, I didn't mean to ask anything. I just accidentally pressed the unmute button.
Oh, got you. My bad. Okay, I appreciate it. Well, yeah, if you want to jump in, feel free to as any time. Richard says goodnight, AP and Tiffany. Aeternia forever. Aeternia forever.
Good night, Richard.
Good night, Richard. From Tiffany and AP. Richard said, AP, the Shaolin monk emperor of Aeternia. We're trying. Manu says, why does the design on the left give me both AP vibes and Joker vibes? Because we're the best of both worlds. You got to bring a little bit of chaos to the party along with your goofy physics. It works. We're doing the whole gambit. We're trying to confuse people in our branding as much as possible. Sometimes I'll be the Shaolin monk, sometimes I'll be the joke. Confusing blend. Cuppy says, ask a great question. Do you consider yourself as American or Eternian? I think that's a fantastic question. It's kind of tough. So I started Eternia, as I've talked about in previous streams and in some of our edited videos as well, because I felt dissatisfaction in the way that I saw my parents' lives, adult lives, being developed in the U.S., specifically economically. We always struggled. We weren't like starving to death, but we always had money issues, and it was always something where I could see the stress that caused on my parents. They were constantly having to either take out loans to get by, or constantly having to get additional jobs, look for additional income sources. Really limiting what we could do. We didn't go on a lot of vacations. We didn't do too much stuff like that during my childhood. Though we did some. I was fortunate that my parents were really loving and really cared about us being connected as a family, despite our economic circumstances. But it wasn't easy, and I feel like seeing that in my family, I always knew that I didn't want that for the future. I want to, of course, now, especially my father being in the 70s, and me wanting to develop this land to help him in part, and to help Tiffany and I in our future development. I knew I wanted to find something to break free of that cycle and to provide more economic value for myself and my family. But as well, I have to give credit that I do appreciate some of the things that the American system has to offer. I feel like there are very few things that the American system gets right, or that offers benefits in, and there are certainly things that the American system loses out by a mile on in comparison to other countries, like health services. That all being said, I consider myself Eternian because of my creation of Eternia, because of our development. I consider myself Eternian first. And that's simply because it's mine, and I want to be Eternian forever. I see Eternia's continual development as a part of my own development as a person, and so I don't think that I could justify creating a country and asking other people to dedicate their lives to something that I'm serious about and that I care about if I then turn my back and said, but actually I'm American, don't Don't worry about it. No, I put myself 100% into these shoes. You know, I am Eternian. However, I do not reject my American citizenship by any means. I definitely appreciate my American status, my American citizenship. I do love America for what it's worth. I love the people in America, especially. I feel like the development of our country and the way that that has happened, and the difficulties that that causes people, especially of lower economic classes, is not the fault of the American people at all. The American people are wonderful and a beautiful mixture of so many world cultures that came before and have, you know, become this melting pot that made its own thing. I think sometimes the American voter is a little bit confused on what some of the benefits to them may be, and I think the system kind of makes it harder for them to get what's actually beneficial for them. That all being said, the reason that I just got the degree that I did was because of the United States of America. Of course, if I were to be in another country and I would have been born there, I may have gotten into college 100% for free. I still had to take out a lot of student debt, but that being the case, I still was able to do it. The federal programs that I took advantage of in order to get a degree, an undergraduate degree in physics, no less, something that, you know, I had struggled in math and science in high school and before that, and yet I really was passionate about this. I really wanted to do it, and even through my own shortcomings, even through my own struggles in learning and trying to overcome those obstacles that some of my other classmates had always been proficient in and had always excelled in, I was still able to do it. It cost me a lot of money, but the U.S. government, for what it's worth, did front that money. I still have to pay it back. It sucks that I have to pay it back. I think a lot of other countries have the right idea in not making their students have to shoulder that debt. But at the same time, it could have been a lot worse. They could have said, hey, no, if you don't have the money right up front in cash to pay for your education, or you're a super genius who has, you know, made straight A's throughout high school and can get a full ride to anywhere you want, that no, you're not going to be able to get the education that would help you and improve your life. So I'm fortunate that I've been able to receive a very good education at a wonderful school because of the federal government allowing programs to front me that money and to legitimately pay for some of it without me having to pay it back. But majority of that bill I still have to foot. And so there's some resentment there, but there's some appreciation. And I do have to give credit where credit is due in that specific instance. I do owe my education, the benefits that I've been allowed to my American citizenship. And to that degree, I can be patriotic 100% and say that I'm proud of being an American. I'm also proud of being an American because, you know, of the people who fight for this country. You know, a lot of people are critical of the U.S. military. I am critical of the U.S. military in a lot of ways as well. But I think the actual people who are fighting in combat for us, the people who are individually sacrificing so much, you know, veterans who come back and are injured and are having to take retirements and having to deal with PTSD and suicide and all these horrible struggles that are a cost of war that have nothing to do with them as individuals, but have everything to do with, you know, governments and politicians who set them up for that. I give credit to those people and I commend those people. They're people who give everything they have to keep the belief of the United States going, to keep the interests of the United States going, right or wrong, and they truly know what it means to dedicate to that. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that American spirit. I'm proud of that community that's built and that culture that's there. So I would never turn my back on America, not ever. I love this country. I think Aeternia and the United States should work hand in hand. I think Aeternia can benefit the United States and offer additional services that the United States may not be able to provide because of the way that it's structured, because of the system that we've kind of locked ourselves into. I think there are a lot of problems initially with the way that the United States was set up as an institution, you know, with slavery, with a lot of the restriction of rights that we've slowly started to pull away from, but have fought tooth and nail for every step of the way. Uh, I don't like U.S. politics. I like the country and the people that are in it. So I am an American. I was born an American. I'm proud of my being American, but ultimately I have evolved into, and at this day, am an Aeternian. That's a fantastic question, but I think you can't say that you're one without the other, or at least I can't because I was born an American. There may be one day where there are Aeternians who have never been and never aspire to be, and never have any connection to the United States. There may be Aeternians that are 100% Aeternian. For right now, I have to say I am American and Aeternian. I am Aeternian first, but I am an American through and through as well. I was born here. I'm a Cajun. I am a part of a specific subclass of Americans that are originating from France, that are, a part of an impoverished bayou community that, was both welcomed into this country and also abused by this country, and also did a lot of abusing to other people, like again in slavery. This is such a crazy country, and I am, regardless of my feelings about it, a part of its history. I am in it for the long haul, so to speak. Cuppy says, what is the population of Aeternia? That's a great question. So it depends on how you define population. Aeternia currently has, let me check. There's probably more than this, but in our Hall of the Empire, which contains our citizens, the people who are our citizens from Discord, 7 people. So 7, 8, 9, 10, probably like 12 citizens. I know that's, why don't you have that number really hard? Because it fluctuates regularly, and because as we update our requirements for citizenship, that's kind of a difficult thing to come up with right off the top of my head at this moment. But I believe we have 12 citizens actively, including myself. However, if you are discussing population as far as the amount of people who live on Aeternian soil actively, as our permanent residential population, that is significantly lower. This.
Higher.
This drawn. There we go. I was confused. She kept pointing, and I was like, which thing? So if you're talking about if you are talking about residential citizens, people who live on the territory that we just purchased, for example, that would be 2 as of right now. Myself and Tiffany own and run that land. We have not opened it up to additional residencies, and even then we aren't able to be a permanent population for it as of yet because we do not have a house built there yet. As we continue developing, you'll see our progress, hopefully in a future edited video pretty quickly, where we are building what we call Aeternian dwellings, small adobe huts that are going to be actually carved into the ground, kind of half out of the ground, half in the ground structures that'll eventually hopefully become fully underground structures that we are using to house our citizens for the moment. And that's going to be what we initially start to connect lights and water and sewer, septic, and everything to. We're going to start building an actual house for my father that's, a more modern house with concrete foundation, normal suburban style house, so that he can live comfortably at, again, 77 years old. He needs something a little bit different, but other than that, we're trying to open up to a larger residential population. But as of right now, that residential population is 2. Our full-scale citizenship population is probably 12. I would say 12 or 13. It's a fantastic question. I really do appreciate that. A lot of the time we have things that are changing and updating on our in our nation and with what we're doing. And so the more that we have support of you all, and the more that you guys ask us questions, the more I can fill people in without it being something that's particularly strange or difficult to make a whole new video on. So I want to make another video kind of doing we've done this in the past, like our Micronation 101, where we describe the basics of Aeternia, and we've done history videos where we've talked about kind of from our beginning to now, what are some highlights of what we've done. I want to continue to do that to express the unique nature of Aeternia and how we've been moving forward, especially for all you newcomers who are here and may not have been able to follow that. Real quick, Jadonia, we passed up your question earlier, but I didn't forget about you, not at all. Jadonia asked, is Tiffany the Empress? It's a great question. Tiffany, what's your answer? Tiffany smiles, looks at me, and continues drawing. Tiffany is not the Empress of Aeternia. Tiffany is... we don't have a particular term for it as of the moment, but she's my girlfriend. As of the short and sweet of that, that's the official term between she and I. She's my girlfriend. Tiffany is somebody who I love very much and who's been a big part of Aeternia and its development. Although I don't think, from my understanding, from our previous conversations, and if I am wrong on any of this, please do correct me, Tiffany. I don't believe that Tiffany seeks any official role in our government, at least at this time. Tiffany has her own dreams, her own aspirations that she wants to pursue far outside of Aeternia, that she has had for a long time before I met her, and I am her biggest fan in those. She is an astounding scientist. She is an incredibly brilliant person, and she has her own goals and interests that she's going to be pursuing, regardless of the development of Aeternia. I think Tiffany's in this for the long haul with me, as far as wanting to support what we do, as far as wanting to be there and be an important member and figure in this. But I think she has a lot to offer the world in and of her own right. Aeternia aside, Tiffany is a person who's going to make a big name for herself, independent of this. So Tiffany is not the Empress of Aeternia. Tiffany is a brilliant scientist who has some stuff that she's doing independently. But we will continue to be moving forward as a government and as a body. Even with new people being added for different government positions, and Tiffany always having a huge role in that. I don't think there will ever be a day where Tiffany, isn't still recognized very officially as a big part of Aeternia. Not only a part of its history, not only a part of its active development, but as somebody who is an advisor on what it means to be Aeternian, especially my passing, and for any reason, if I were to have any difficulties, as of right now, it's no secret that Tiffany would be the first person to make decisions as to what would happen next. I don't want to stress that too publicly, because there's Tiffany and I have had some private conversations about my interests and about not like a formal will, to so to speak, but kind of a spoken will as to what I would want to happen in the event that I would pass, or in the event that something crazy would happen that would not allow me to be emperor anymore, or to run Aeternia properly. And so, that being the case, Tiffany has her kind of instructions that we've talked about for what to do there, and she knows my heart, and she knows what would be the best thing for us. So Tiffany has a lot of power here, even though she is not officially a government official, even though she does not have a title as Empress or something like that. She really doesn't need it. Tiffany's a cool ass person, and she will always be a big part of Aeternia. Just in name alone. The name Tiffany in Aeternia means a lot to a lot of people, not just myself. I need a title. Let me clarify it that way. Despite my founding of Aeternia, despite my active development of it, I need a title for people to know who I am and what my role in Aeternia is. Tiffany needs no sort of introduction. Tiffany is well known for who she is and what she does here, and it couldn't happen without her. So, that being the case, we're going to continue on. Cyrus says, Cyrus the Great retracted their message and then says, why is she so quiet? It's pretty weird. Well, right now she's drawing. I don't know about you, but a lot of people that I know, especially, the artist type, they like to focus and concentrate when they draw. It's a part of the process. She's really focusing in on what she's doing. Especially for a lot of our streams, though. Like if you're expanding that out beyond this, right now, again, she's focusing on something that's huge for us. Again, the Microcon wardrobe. So not only my wardrobe and how I'm going to be updating my official outfit for regal appearances, for official appearances, especially at one of our most important events to come, Microcon 2022 in Las Vegas. She's designing her own outfit. She's designing aspects of it that will be incorporated into our culture probably for years to come in additional people's outfits, in the way that those outfits fit together, in the way that we create different kind of offshoot outfits for different occasions, for more casual wear versus more formal wear and so on. But in addition to that, if you're talking about times that are not now, in previous live streams, why she's quiet, why she doesn't participate a ton, Tiffany has participated in a number of live streams, speaking and interacting with people, especially people that she's gotten to know. She interacts with Richard Taylor. She interacts with a lot of people who are active guests of our streams. If you've seen, a couple days ago, we had the Grand Duchess of Aeternia on. She spoke to her a little bit during the live stream. We also, if you watched before that, we had some of Tiffany's family on in explaining micronations to explaining micronations to normies. If you haven't checked that one out, I definitely suggest you do. That was kind of an interesting one. And in that one, she also spoke quite a bit and got to share some info with our audience, as well as just shared her opinion. So if you want those streams where you see Tiffany and you hear her and you talk to her, those are the ones generally where she'll chime in, or less where I'm trying to preach the Aeternian interest and trying to promote our cause, and more so where we're just having like a roundtable discussion. Tiffany really likes to chime in on those, and it's interesting because a lot of smart people are very tactful when it comes to how they use their speech. Some of the most brilliant people in the world will not speak when they're in a room for a very long time, and then all of a sudden, when you least expect it, they'll say something. It may just be one thing, but that one thing will shut everyone else in the room up because it's a thinker, because it's something that makes you go, damn, that was a showstopper. That was something that it was really important. And so I think Tiffany a lot of the time has wonderful moments like that where she doesn't need to say a lot, but when she says something, especially in a formal audience like this, where we're talking about the history and the future of a nation. These are things that may be cataloged and looked back on in history. I'm sure some of the moments that I have in this will be picked apart and kind of made fun of a little bit, because I am fairly off the cuff with the way that I speak. But Tiffany is very, very holds herself in high regard. She speaks very eloquently, and she does so with her words chosen. So I'll say that for who Tiffany is and the way that she interacts with Aeternia, she impresses me every day. Hey!
So the around and it's like, hello, kitty.
It's cute as fuck. I feel like if we were superheroes, I would play so hard. But I'm not superheroes. We're superheroes. Tiffany's making us Aeternian superheroes. She added me a cape with the arrow of progress on it. It's like this big a cape too. It's like half back a cape. And then,
we can make it smaller. We can make it up here.
It's just a shoulder blade cape. It's not even a cape. It's just a shawl. It's just like a light drape. Super cute. I'm not a cape fan.
Okay, well, what about this front part?
The front part is cool.
You like the flows down.
I do like that. I would kind of like it almost if it was, I don't want to mess with your drawing, but like a wrap where it like goes around a couple times, has like some wavies in it, something like that. No.
There you go with that back. I think that's how we do with that.
Yeah. I agree. Very cool. Thank you. Tiff's coming up with some cool designs, although she did make it like a cape.
Hey, that's how you Catholic monks do it.
That's
You
true.
have like these weird it's
Yep,
just one
it
wrap
does,
and then it just
yep.
flows down
Yep.
with the rest of the
I
wrap.
didn't come up with the Catholic wardrobe. The
No, but
official.
I think that's why you're liking like the weird scarf thing is because you like grew up that way, and so like it's a
But
thing
that's
that you
not
may
the
have
one that
like.
I'm thinking of. Like
But I think you're like
subconsciously,
something
like
that you like saw before and then went, oh, I like the front of it. Screw the back
the
of that.
back
That
of
looks
it.
silly.
Agreed. You may be right. Multiple things. Cuppy says my sister draws, and when my sister draws, she will not let me in her room. Yeah, agreed. Artists just do that. And then he said normal artist thing. I agree. Or she. My apologies. I don't want to misgender. Matthew Hubbard says funky haircut. Agreed. This is kind of a funky haircut. Ta-da. Manu got the shit out of me. Manu made me laugh. Manu said, AP's haircut is the most unpredictable thing I've encountered in my entire life. I agree. I have not, in the past 5 years especially that we've been doing these YouTube videos, kept a consistent haircut at all. Sometimes it'll be this. Sometimes it'll be like the normal like swoosh thing. Sometimes I'll like have it so long that it like slicks back. And I've even had it so long that it slicks back and then comes down into almost like a mullet. Like it varies significantly. You can define periods of Aeternian history by my haircut alone. You can like look back through videos and be like, oh, I remember this was when I had this many subscribers because you see how long his hair is in the back. You see that mullet? That was old AP. That was mid tier AP. Look out. He had just hit Super Saiyan at that point. Democratic Republic of Beligas has got to go. See you, Beliga. I really appreciate you being here, and we will talk to you soon. Jadonia says, who will be speaking in the next space? That's a great question. I'm not sure. Right now, we do have Republic of. Excuse me.
Something like that.
Goodness, I'm trying to jump in. Republic of Kelso in, which said that they couldn't speak already, but they are in the comments. So it's like they're with us speaking in the space. Tiffany's adding stuff. Ooh, I kind of like it. It's getting more and more dopish. But then she's still got the symbol on the back.
Why not keep
dude.
the symbol on the back? It's a defining thing.
That's Tiffany's
You
trademark.
gotta let
is
them
the
know behind and in front. Well, not only when they're talking to you, but when you're walking away.
I
Because they
feel like-
just like touch you.
I appreciate
You
it.
know, like.
I feel like it's becoming less and less a like micronational uniform and more like a sports jersey or something. Like with the big, you know what I mean? Like or like a superhero uniform type thing is really what it reminds me of. I like
So? Why you just want to be solid? You should be solid.
it. No, I don't know what I want to be real with you, but I'm trying to think of different like little aspects of it. I'm sorry to be so nitpicky.
You're so naked.
I know. Tiffany's coming up with really cool stuff, and I'm shitting on it. I'm trying not to shit on it. I'm picky with the way that the nation goes and stuff. But Tiffany, nevertheless, comes up with really cool stuff, and I'm sure once I unveil all this to you guys, and the more that we keep showing you, people are gonna come back and be like, "You should have done the cool thing on the back." Tiffany was right the whole time. You should have done the thing on the back. And we get a lot of stuff for it, and we get a lot of flack.
He's not solid like that.
I don't even know though. Like I feel like I want to do weirder stuff. Like I like it. I just, I gotta show you what I mean by the like shoulder wrap thing.
No, the shoulder out, bro.
It is a shoulder wrap.
You said
but
you
it's not the
wanted
one
like
that
a
I'm thinking.
scarf. It's a scarf.
Yeah, but I'm trying. There's a like real specific.
Well, we
thing that
can
I'm
drop
thinking
it further.
It's not
They
just
go way
dropping it.
down
It's
here.
like it's like a thick thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's like it has like ruffles in it. It's
Yeah,
like a thick
it's a thing. Okay, you see my headband? My little like they're like the
The
tubes
scrunchie?
or whatever. No, like that I got from like the Mudra when I went to the race. They give you like it's a multi-purpose like wrap thing.
Mhm.
But you so you can turn it into like a ponytail, like a scrunchie.
Yeah.
Or you can just wear it around your head and just scrunch it up.
Mhm.
Or you could just wear it like a not a toboggan. What's it?
What's up?
What's it? I know. What's it called? The thing. A bonnet.
A bonnet.
Is that it? That's like the thing
Yeah.
that would like flow back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a bonnet has like a. It's
Wait,
like a
no,
cap,
because it
too.
wouldn't go like it wouldn't be like the ruffles and
Yeah.
under it. It's the like the thing that they always show like older ladies or people during
Like a scarf.
like living on a prairie. Wait, what was that show?
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, Little House. on the
They
Prairie.
wore bonnets.
But like they also wore like it's kind of like the same thing of when women like in those kind of shows would wear like a bandana and they just
Yeah.
tie it down here and then the rest like just flows
Yeah,
back.
it's like a scarf.
So yeah, you could just flow it back. It's not a scarf; it goes on your head.
Yeah, but they're called scarves. I'm pretty sure.
No.
Yeah, women wear scarves in their head.
Either way,
Let me know if I'm wrong, guys. I'm
either way,
pretty
that's
sure.
what you're like talking about. Is like a tubey thing, because like
Not
yes,
necessarily.
yes, because the way that you can change it all in around, they have bigger ones that you just like take, and it's like this big long like just rounded
And
out
you just
thing,
throw it
and
over
then
your
you just
shoulder.
put it over your shoulder, and then you can just wrap it around your head as many times as you want.
Maybe so. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, next time we go to like any store, I'll be
We'll
like,
look at it.
"There's the scarf
And we'll
thing
try
you're
it out.
talking about."
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I want to look up like scarf images online and like see what we come up with.
I'll see. I'll show. I can do that too. I can Google it for you.
I will say, I want to go back to see if there are any more. Okay, hold up. A lot of people jumped in the comments. I gotta answer comments. Manu says, Emperor Man and his secret weapon, the ever-changing hair. Yes, yeah, that's accurate, Manu. We do need to make like some kind of like a web comic or something about that. We do. Matt says, hey, AP, quick question. Did Aeternia ever have a way to register a company? I forget. So, Matt, that's a great question. I did answer that a little earlier. I'm not sure if you were here during that time. Like I said, at that point, I haven't created anything yet, but I'm not slacking on it anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a form for that within the next 3 or 4 days so that you can go ahead and register your company. Now, that doesn't mean that it will be officially an Aeternian company yet, but you can apply. We will start to discuss that applicant. We'll like have you put in your application. I'll reach out to you. We'll start discussing it. I need to set up official terms for fees and benefit. Fees would be something that, it's going to cost you something in order to have that Aeternian business registered, and a way that we set up expectations for, how your business operates, how we promote your business, what sort of advantages you get for being an Aeternian business, those sorts of things, so that it's well understood and so that we can move forward in a way that's agreeable for everybody. But because we haven't tested this yet, I really need your guys' feedback. So we're going to start that application system like right now in the next 2 or 3 days. That way I can just get some feedback, get some information from you guys. I can start reaching out to you and saying, hey, these are the terms that I'm thinking of. These are the benefits that I'm thinking of. Is this worth it for you? Or do you have any questions about how this is set up or how this is set up? Do you have any expectations that you have? Here are our expectations. What do you think about these expectations? And continuing to move forward. Because if we're really going to register businesses for Aeternia, we need to make it something that increases our revenue. Right now, Aeternia needs some money. We need to be able to have money to do more things on our land. We need to have more money so that we can reach out to other nations. But also the added benefit of having Aeternia businesses is that we can then start to create larger trade deals with other nations that don't just hinge on what Tiffany and I can make. It hinges on what your companies, what your investments can build for us. And we can we can vouch for that, and we can say the Aeternian government certifies that we know this business has a good reputation, they've made sales on our behalf before, and they can fulfill your order. And in that way, when we are marketing this, we can have a solid way to build you relationships with other nations, and as well to get you large orders in, so that people are investing lots of money in your business. But all that has to come with some sort of setup for fees and some setup for a benefit that we get for actively putting more of that effort in to really promote your business. And so I don't want to make that too strenuous a process on anybody. I want to make sure it feels worth it for everybody, and I want to make sure that on our end it's practical for us to do, and that I can really commit what it takes to make this a successful system. So give me a few days, let me actually build that, but keep bugging me about it. Keep asking me, keep hitting me up on Discord every day if you want to. I need to make that initial application, fill it out, and we'll talk about it and keep moving from there. Matt, I know you've been wanting to start an Aeternia business for a while now. We have a couple other people who've been asking, especially recently, about it, so we need to get this done now, and we're going to.
See, they make it where it's like one whole thing. You can wear it over your head if you want to, or you could just throw it down.
Yeah.
It's whatever, and then you could wrap it.
Kind of
It's just like
that.
it's a solid thing,
Yeah.
and then you just wrap it. It's all completely connected.
Yeah.
It's just really big, and if you didn't wrap it around your neck, it'd probably honestly hang down to way here or something. You'd be standing and just be like, yeah, I got this big thing, but you just start twisting it around your neck and be like, hey,
Agreed.
chilling.
I
And
like
puff out.
something, like that kind of goes down around the shoulder.
Well,
It still has
you
that,
could pull it down to your shoulders if that's
Yeah.
what you want to do. You could do your first wrap on the neck,
Yeah.
and then go around once, and then hit your shoulder, and then do another one, whatever.
Yeah,
Do your thing.
agreed.
You can make it a hood. You can be like, I pulled up this piece, and now I got a hood.
Yeah, I like that. I like
So
the
you're
versatility of it.
find multi-purpose clothing. So just
Yes.
type in multi-purpose shirts or robes or whatever.
Yeah.
Have you seen? It's super cool. It's really super cool. They have a hoodie that turns into a backpack.
Mhm.
Where it is this the arm piece that would be a backpack strap thing is built into the back of it on the inside.
Yeah.
But when you pull it all out and you undo the bag, it's now a hoodie and you can wear it.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, and then you just pull it back off. You grab the string and you can pull it back into a bag.
Oh,
I'll
You'll have to show me that. Because you're right. Matt, the more that you keep saying that, you really hit the nail on the head. I am looking for versatile clothing. Because one, I want people to be able to express themselves while still having some kind of common theme. And I also want to be able to express different careers and different paths that people walk in Aeternia, different classes of people in Aeternia, as well as being able to present different
it's called the quick flip or
communities.
whatever.
Yeah, I really like that. Manu says how to measure U.S. history, their presidents, North Korean history, their supreme leaders, Japan history, their emperors, Aeternian history, the emperor's haircut. Yeah, it's just one emperor, but he changes the style. It's almost like he's a different guy each time. I appreciate that. My opinions vary drastically with my haircut too. Not really, but it'd be funny if every time I came out with a new haircut, Aeternia was drastically different. Nope, this time we're changing the flag and the colors and all of our policies. People are like, oh, we gotta wait to see what his next haircut is. He may become really strict and mean, or he may be a really cool emperor, depending on how his haircut works out. Jadonia says, how much land does Aeternia have? That's a great question, Jadonia. 3.5 acres, approximately. Manu says 3 acres or something. That is pretty good. I agree, Manu. 3.5 acres is the official estimate when we bought it. It's plus or minus some though. So when we get an official survey of it, I can tell you more exactly. Bless you. Matt says, sounds perfect. Thanks. I guess I didn't hear it before. Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. And again, keep bugging me about it. Keep bugging the crap out of me about it because I still need to do it. And I want to make sure it's good. I want to make sure it fits well. And also, please just update me on how your business stuff is going. Part of the reason that I've kind of slacked on this and waited is because there was a period where you hit me up and Drew hit me up, and then that was kind of the main thing. And I was thinking about it. You guys got me like my wheels turning on it. And then I didn't think about it for a long time, and it kind of died off. I know you guys were busy with a lot of stuff. I got busy with stuff. I was trying to push through school. And then all of a sudden, recently, other people started hitting me up about it. And now you guys have hit me up again. So if you can tell me how your businesses have been developing and what you've been up to, let me know, because I want to try and incorporate that into how we develop this and the system that we create. So thank you so much. I appreciate you bringing this up to me.
So yeah, it's like a really simple concept. All they did is you have a hood, right?
Mhm.
You're like wearing a hoodie or a jacket, like whatever.
Yeah.
All they do is you take off the jacket, and right on the back piece on the inside is like a big pocket thing. Yeah, and all you do is you take that pocket piece, you put your hand in there, and you pull it like this, and then you just stuff the jacket in the bag, and now it's fixed on the back.
That's cool.
So I mean, and it's not that the jacket takes up completely the space of the bag, but it's definitely taking up like the bottom portion. But you can like stick water bottles. Maybe I guess a small but not
It's
like a
tiny
textbook,
backpack.
but like yeah,
That's cool. I like it.
it's like the little small throw bags,
And
like
it's
the
like
drawstrings.
if you made it out of like a weatherproof material, it could be like
That's what they
emergency
do. The
poncho.
inside is a weatherproof thing, like it's like silky or whatever, so it looks different. So your jacket may be like a soft, coaty, like whatever thing.
Yeah.
And then the inside, so when you flip it like outward, that outside is now the waterproof, like whatever. So now
For
your
the
jacket
backpack.
doesn't get wet.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's also just a thing of like they're like no more like one of their like advertisement like to make you interested in the product is like no more cringy fashion wear. Now you don't have to try to throw it over your neck and tie it, or throw it over your waist and to keep tying it because it loosens as you walk. Like whatever, you just turn it in a bag and carry.
That's pretty cool. I do like that.
I mean, that'd be super like it's just like a stupid easy concept and like really simple. And like the simplest of concepts are the things that make the biggest difference. There's no reason to make things more complicated than they have to be.
Okay.
Like I mean, goodness, that's what like Calvin did within our like control stuff. He just went, yo, simplicity. What do you want? You want a stable system. Okay, what defines a stable? This thing right here. This one little tiny thing is the thing that defines a stable system. As long as it's equal to like 0 or whatever. Like you're good.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, now how do you like and then there's another one like there's the stability, but then you also have like that you want your system to be like linear. If your system is linear, it also kind of just defines that you have a stable system. And when once a control system is not stable, because that means you're not getting what you want out of it.
Right.
And it's going all over the place. And yeah, so the two things that he just said is like these are the two like defining equations of controls. Literally, if you're looking to design a controller,
Make it simple and make it stable.
just be like, take your kinematics of whatever thing you're doing and force it to do this. If you just define it to do this, you got your system, like you figured it out. That's it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and people like didn't listen to it for like a good bit. He had to do his like PhD thing like twice before they finally like passed him. Because I guess it was just a thing that it seems so simple and almost like obvious that they just went, doesn't seem like a big thing. And
But
it's
nobody
like
was
that's a
doing
lot.
it. It's
No
like,
one
man,
did
you
it.
didn't- Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just a thing that like defines controls now. They're like literally just about like
It's the
everyone
basis for it.
uses as like their big thing when designing a controller. It's just Calvin. Go Calvin, not Calvin. Look at me, I already messed up. Calvin did do a lot of stuff. The dude who did that was not Calvin, it's Lumpanoff. Lumpanoff.
Right.
The Lumpanoff method. It's very cool. Very strange name.
Tiff's such a smarty. Real quick, I want to get to the rest of these comments and then we will head out because we have been streaming for 3 hours. But I do thank you guys for being here. Dr. Rudy asks, what's your country's currency? That's a great question. So, Dr. Rudy, To answer that short and sweetly, it is the Imperial Note. You can purchase some on our Imperial Market at etsy.com/Imperial Market. You can also check out our website, www.eternianempire.com. Sorry, no, it's wix.eternianempire.com/Imperial Market. If you check that place out, there is a link directly to our Etsy Imperial Market, which you can purchase those from. A more in-depth answer, though, is that we currently are not able to use that as a currency, meaning you can't trade it back for US dollars until we have a money transmitter's license, which is one of the bigger long-term goals for Aeternia to save up and purchase so that we can legally transact that currency. For the short term, though, you can buy it to support us and as well to create as kind of an investment for the future when we are able to get that money transmitter's license. A ton of people already have, which you can see on our website as our aristocrat board. If you buy Eternian currency, you can actually be placed on our aristocrat board, and that aristocrat board has all of the people who have helped us to purchase, who have purchased Eternian currency in the name of helping us out and being a part of our economy. And as we continue to move forward, we always are thanking them. And so that aristocrat board is numbered. It's listed from the person who has actively the most Imperial notes to the person who has the least. We're almost at 10. Once we have 10 people who have purchased Imperial notes, we will be capping the leaderboard and the aristocrat board at that, where you no longer have, you don't get 11, 12, and 13 on there. It's just the highest top 10 who are on the aristocrat boards and who are official aristocrats in Aeternia. So as we continue to move forward, those are going to become more and more competitive, and we do see people kind of compete for those, especially the top couple. Right now, the top person, I think, is at like 200 notes or something like that. It's a significant amount. And of course, one note equals $1 US. That's what we sell them for. Besides, of course, shipping costs to send them to you. That's a great question, though, Dr. Ruby. Thank you. Manu says, we're not watching Emperor AP, we're watching Emperor AP XVI. He just clones himself and then gets betrayed and killed by his own clones. That's what happens. They keep issuing new clones, and I tell them to stop. And every time a new version of me says, "Hey guys, I think I'm it. I think I'm good. We don't need any more." You see another one like slowly sneak up in the corner of the video. Actually, I'm the leaker clone. I admit all of the faults of the previous clones, and I'm actually undoing the Eternian system by unveiling all this information. But if you actually go back and look closely, it's a closely held conspiracy theory in Eternia where you can see some of the clones accidentally step into frame every once in a while, trying to get their move in to finish off the next one. And it'll happen to mine eventually. One day another one of my clones is going to come back and replace me, and you'll see a different haircut. You'll think, oh, you just got another weird haircut. No, you got to look carefully for those other clones that'll come in and get me, take me out. So I'm the one that's revealing all to you, letting you know. Drew said monkey with a hammer. I appreciate it. Let's see. Matt says, I feel like this might be just me, but did Tiffany used to have more of a heavy southern accent? Tiffany says she hasn't ever had a heavy southern accent. I feel like Tiffany, people from the north would tell you do have a southern accent, but people from the north tell me I have a southern accent too.
People
So,
from the north, they're better than like, I mean, it's there.
yeah,
They're like, it's not like it's like heavy,
agreed.
but I mean, you can tell.
Yeah, agreed. That's a great question. I don't know. You'll have to let us know. Let us know if we did. Jadonia says, LOL, what type of monarchy is Aeternia? Aeternia is an absolute monarchy. So we're not a constitutional monarchy. I am not held by any specific constitutional law that we have. I am an absolute monarch. My word is law in Aeternia. We do follow United States law and try and keep up with that, but we are an absolute monarch. Both Moondust and Winter is asleep. Winter's looking silly over there. Moondust is in the back, absolutely conked out. Winter's being kind of silly now and playing with herself. And scratching her little ear. But yes, we are an absolute monarchy. We do have the Guide of Foundation and Principles, though, which teaches you about our government structure, about the reason that we were founded, gives a little excerpt from me, and kind of details some of our future plans. So, as we continue to grow and develop, the Guide of Foundation and Principles will continue to develop, but that is our guide, that is our effectively most similar to our constitution, although we don't have a constitution. We have our Guide of Foundation Principles. So, absolute monarchy, to answer your question. Matt said, us and Richard got knocked out of the race out of nowhere. LOL. It was so close, and then boom, 200. Yep, absolutely. Matt and Richard were competing for the top two. It was first it was Matt, and then Drew, and then Richard, and then it became Matt, and then Richard, and then Drew, and then finally it became Richard, and then Matt, and then Drew, and it was really, really close. And then all of a sudden, David, our blacksmith David, one of our local citizens actually, who lives here in Alabama, near us, and that we've had actually come out to the land with us recently, though we haven't dropped that footage yet. He has also helped us out significantly by becoming our blacksmith and actually having some of our metal refining industry move to his personal property to help us develop. He purchased 200 notes out of nowhere and just blew everybody out of the water when he joined. So, props to Richard. Yes, yes, like that. Yes, like that. Except kind of thick, not super thick, but a little bit. But yes, the style, 100%. But yeah, you're right, Matt. Just boom out of nowhere, he did throw everybody out. Although I would love to see some competition again. I know it's hard because that's expensive. That's a lot. But at the same time, we will have other things to compete over, if not that. And I hope one day, especially with your business being developed, you can find ways that Aeternia can help you to compete in that and to make your money back to help grow that. Jadonia says, "Oh wow, Jadonia is also an absolute monarchy." Oh, very cool. What a coinky dink. We do have that in common. I'm excited about that. Tiff said, "Coinky dink," like that. Drew says, "I almost passed Matt too." You still could. You and Matt aren't that far from each other, huh? Let's look it up. Hold up. Eternianempire.wixsite.com/Imperial Market. That is our website. I'm going to scroll down. Again, it's on our first page. Also, you guys will notice, for all of you who haven't checked out the website in a while, we used to have a land purchase fund that was like a tenth of the way. We had almost $1,000 out of $10,000 we were trying to save up for a land purchase. Our land purchase ended up costing us $11,000, but we were kind of in a financial bind and needed to do something extreme in order to make sure that we could survive and keep going just personally. And so we bit the bullet and we invested pretty much all of our money at the time in order to purchase our land. And I'm still struggling financially from that. Tiffany's bounced back a little bit because she's cool. But we now have our website updated. Instead of having our land purchase funding and that loading bar, that completion task bar up to try and show how much progress we've made toward that, we now have in its place a sign that says Eternia's first territory and a picture of me posing there. So we have officially taken down our land purchase funding bar because we have had our land purchase. We finally did that. That has been huge for us, and that is thanks to people like, of course, David, who purchased 200 notes, of course, Richard for having 100, of course, Matt with 55 notes, and Drew and Steven with 35 notes. Actually, Drew and Steven are neck and neck at 35 notes there. So, Drew, if you did, let me see, we have 9 right now. We have 9 people on the aristocrat board. Actually, Drew, if you bought any more notes, you would surpass Steven, and then that would make you number 4, Steven number 5, Lamond and Master Deonite tied for 6, Gray at 7, Sarah Pearson at 8, Mason Kodat at 9, and then Cole Masterson at 10, and that would finish out our aristocrat board until, of course, we would have somebody else come to compete and knock somebody out. But yeah, we have a good number of people who have supported us, and a good number of notes there that have been generated from that. So thank you all so much for helping to get our economy to the point where we could do that. Again, you guys were nearly a tenth of our investment. You know, you helped out my side of the investment a ton in actually being able to finalize things for Aeternia. There was a point when we were looking to buy this land because we were worried, you know, the price being so nice comparatively to anything else that's even close, to being affordable for us. You know, everything else is out of our price range, and this one piece of land just by miracle fell into our laps, and we had the opportunity to purchase it, but we knew it wouldn't stay on the market long because of the price. And so when we were going to purchase it, there were a few things where we started coming up short in our calculations, and it was like, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to afford it? And then we remembered we could exhaust our land purchase fund, and if we did that, we would, you know, be exhausting a lot of Aeternia's economy, but we would be doing so to accomplish that goal that we've been pursuing for years, and we did it. And it's worked out for us. And now we're growing, now we're developing, and we're able to start to implement that back into our economy. So right now we're still needing to reinforce all of these notes that had been purchased by everybody and that we did spend on our land purchase. But we're going back and reinforcing those, and we're starting to build up our stockpile and our treasury a little bit, just slowly at a time. So as we continue, we're gonna keep improving and keep helping to strengthen that economy that you all have built for us. So thank you so much, and Aeternia forever. Matt says, I think it was me or Drew who won the first Risk tournament. We should do another soon. Agreed, we should. Again, it's been the same issue that we had tonight with the Minecraft stream. We were supposed to set up a Minecraft stream, but our internet here is not good enough for us to reasonably do that. We have tried and tried and tried, but I have to have a lot actively running to run a Minecraft stream or a Discord stream. Anything where I have to be on Streamlabs on my computer requires me to run Streamlabs, YouTube, Discord, and you know, sometimes other social media and other stuff, and whatever game, whatever we're playing, and it can't handle it. The Wi-Fi here just cannot. I've tried to do it even tonight with my phone having 5G and, you know, streaming my mobile hotspot to my computer to try and power it that way, and it's still not nearly enough. The live stream tonight that we tried running Minecraft and doing a Minecraft live stream was absolutely terrible. The frame rate, you know, it was like a pixel every like 30 seconds, you know, and then no audio. It was really bad. So after 5 minutes of struggling with it, we quit that stream. That's part of the issue that we're at now, and that's part of the history of Aeternia at the moment, is that we're in this position where we are in between homes. We're, you know, we're staying with Tiffany's family. We're taken under their wing, but we are in a position where we just purchased this piece of land. So hopefully soon, once we get electricity out there, once we get some houses built, we can have internet access out there, and some nice internet access, so that we can go ahead and continue that. But it may be a little while until we can get that reasonably, because we can't.
Something that is not nice here is that there's only one company that you
Right.
can possibly buy Wi-Fi from, and they will make you pay out the butt
to get it.
because they have bought the 5G Wi-Fi that they have now.
Mhm.
And it's just that, like, even though that's the price that and that's the Wi-Fi that they're paying for, that is not what they're getting.
Mhm.
And it will drop off there heavily, and we have to call them all the time and be like, look, we're not getting what we're paying for.
Mhm.
We're paying for like your top Wi-Fi crap, and you're not giving it to us. We're only getting like 2 to 3 G's of that. So what are you doing?
That is true. Tiffany's right. And so
When one person has a monopoly, this is what happens. You
Mm.
get screwed over, and you have to pay a high price for what's supposed to be their top thing, and then you never get it.
and you don't even get what you paid. Yeah, agreed. So that's the big problem that we've been having right now. That's the issue that
I
we're.
mean, they do that around when you have multiple things to choose from, but it's at least better.
It's
Like they
harder for
can't
them
do
to
it
do it.
as like extremely
Right.
because the other company will just do it better
Right.
and they'll give you a little bit more.
Right. So yeah, Tiffany's 100% right with that. So we just have this difficulty right now, and it will probably be that, to be honest with you, for quite a few months. So unfortunately, we won't be able to do one of those for a while, but we want to. That's the idea. The only reason we haven't continued to do that and to do a third and fourth and fifth micronational risk tournament, why we haven't been doing more micronational Minecraft, is simply because it's it's out of our capabilities. The good news is we have opportunity to do a lot more for the development of Aeternia, but at any time where we can do one, we'll be going to Microcon at some point soon, and we'll be doing bigger things like that. But once we have good Wi-Fi set up, and once we're in a place where we are getting more of what we pay for, then we will absolutely be able to be right back in the swing of those. But that's a great comment, Matt, and I agree. We should do one soon. Jadonia says, I've seen Eternia's trade market list. I was thinking of donating some stuff on the list to Eternia. I appreciate it. So that's one misconception that a lot of people have about our trade list. So on our Imperial Market on our Discord server, our trade list isn't what we want. They are things that we can give, things that we can provide. It's supposed to be an example of what Aeternia could provide as trade to other nations, to other people. It was something that we started early on in our development. And it's still something we can hold to. We can, of course, send all of those things. We still have all of those things, but we have a lot more now, and we have a lot more advanced things that we can create and sell as well, and trade as well. But that was supposed to be what we could offer. And then we wanted to see other people's trade lists of things that they could offer. But a lot of people, in having stumbled upon that, have reached out to us and said, hey, I have Rice Krispie treats or whatever, like stuff that's on the list that was put on there initially because it was just things that I had around and things that were reasonable that we could send to people without too much difficulty. No, we want to see what you have. We want to see your trade list, things that you have as an ability for you to create. We can put out like a headhunting list. We can put out like a wanted list of items that we would like to have, but that we, for whatever reason, don't have the ability to get or are hard to come by. As we continue on, we can do that. And if you want to send those things, that would be great. I will come up with a list if you want to do something like that legitimately and donate items to us. We can come up with a like Eternia's most wanted items list and post that. But that trade list was actually supposed to be things that we could provide as trade offers for other nations, for them to provide something. So if you have a trade list that you can come up with for things that your nation or that you as a person can offer to Eternia, let me know, and then and post that, and we'll talk about it or DM it to me. And then as well, I can go ahead and post a most wanted list for things that we need in Eternia, but have little to no access to, that maybe you could donate. And that means a lot. Thank you. Real Nova says, Salvete. What does that mean? I assume it's like a salutations. Maybe you're heading out, or maybe it's just like a congratulations or something. Matt says, eventually I will fill a briefcase with Eternia notes. I appreciate it, and I hope one day you can like cash that in once we have our money transmitters license, and it'll be a really dramatic thing. We'll film it. You can like slap it on the table. You'll be like, you got the goods, and I'll be like, I got the goods. You got the notes, and you'll be like, I always got the notes. And then we like both pop them open at the same time, and like mine has like a bright light like in Pulp Fiction, or like gold or something coming out of it, like oh, and then yours you pop open and it's like the stacks of notes like in the perfect crisp like rubber bands and stuff, and just like a quick like exchange, like looking each other in the eyes, like super speedy. It'd be really cool. Have like posses with us, like beefed up. Real Nova says, how many houses do you plan to build? That's a great question. So again, we're going to build one Again, modern, conventional style house for my father, that hopefully will be his home for quite a while. But as far as our Eternian dwellings, we're probably going to build maybe 3 to 4 of those. Those will be significantly smaller. They'll be underground dwellings that'll be built and designed specifically for relatively comfortable living, but small scale living, primarily survival living, for the people who want to be Eternia's first residents, people who don't mind kind of roughing it. Again, we're going to have all the essentials: electricity, water, plumbing, areas to cook and clean, and to do all the things that a normal modern home would have, but just in very small scale and in kind of a community style structure. So that will be for somebody who's not expecting to live in a modern home. It will be with all the amenities of a modern home, but given for free to somebody for living and participating in our community at a small scale. So those will be different. Those Eternian dwellings will probably build 2 to 3 of those, probably for myself, and then for 2 other citizen applicants who would want to live there. That's a great question. Matt says Microcon this year looks really fancy. Hey, thank you. Very cool. I'm excited to see it. I can't wait to go. And also, where are you seeing what Microcon's supposed to look like? Have they dropped new info that I haven't seen? I'm great. I'm curious to figure it out. Kingdom of New England says, I love Cat too, now your Imperial Majesty, and Tiffany, it's Empress of your nation, right now your Imperial Majesty. I appreciate it. We did talk about Tiffany's role in Eternia as well previously. Matt says, are you going to stream or record at Microcon? Yes, absolutely. So that's one of the things that I actually did on our Ko-Fi page when we were initially trying to get our land purchase funding together for the final push to actually purchase it, 3 months ago. And I want to make this pitch to everybody again. My plan for Microcon is actually to represent Eternia and to have, some content, of course, that we're going to post for you all just in general on YouTube. But I want to have some specially made content. If any of you guys want to help to fund our Microcon trip, or to help fund stuff that we're going to be doing on our land purchase, you can go to kofi.com/Eternia. And you can, let me make sure that's the correct thing. Kofi.com/Eternia. Is it co-fi? Yep, kofi.com/Eternia. And you can see our Ko-Fi page. For our Ko-Fi page, you can donate any amount of money you want, but if you do donate to our Ko-Fi thing, you can actually go to commissions, and if you go to commissions, you can request a commission. There's a $5 special thank you video where I will just send you, again, a special thank you video, for donating. $10, which is Represent Your Nation at Microcon 2022. Get your nation's name and flag on our community panel to be displayed live at Microcon 2022. Once purchased, email eternianempire@gmail.com with the name of your nation and image of your flag to be used in the community panel. Essentially, we're just going to have a big board that says thank you to everybody who's supported us, and here's all the stuff. That's $10. If you can't make it to Microcon because it's too expensive, because you're too far away or whatever, if you give us $10, we will shout out your nation at Microcon live and be check out these nations, and here's their information and stuff, in order to get you guys more press there, in case somebody like Vice News comes by, in case whatever. We'll have something there for people to get to know you guys. For $15, exclusive Microcon 2022 video. You can get access to an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at Eternia's trip to Microcon 2022, and we'll be sending that out exclusively to those Ko-Fi supporters and as well our Patreon supporters. So if you want to support us on Patreon, we will be putting that video out for you all as well. And for those people who support us, $15, just one time, $15 at our Ko-Fi page, specifically under the commission section. So if you want that, you need to go to the commission section. And as well, we will come out with, another video for everybody else on YouTube in case you don't have the money to do that, and that's perfectly fine. We'll have stuff from Microcon up for you guys as well. But if you want that exclusive video, that behind the scenes content, if you want to really see the full scope of things, you'll get to see the video that we post on YouTube for everybody, and you'll get to see the specialty stuff that we do potentially with other leaders, potentially dinners, like not secret things, but things that we do outside of just the normal everyday Microcon stuff, where we're doing like specialty things with all these different people and giving you kind of a behind the scenes look at our first time at one of these big events. That'll be $15. $15 you pay it one time, you get that. $25, be in our Microcon 2022 speech. So if you give us $25 one time on Patreon, we can have your name or your nation represented as a special thank you on the final slide of our presentation delivered live at Microcon 2022. So I'm going to be giving a speech at Microcon 2022. To my understanding, we still haven't purchased our tickets yet, but we talked to Travis McHenry, the leader of West Arctica and the person running Microcon 2022 this year, and we are given some confirmation that we should be able to get a speech there. That being the case, if that is still, if all the spots haven't been taken, if we're still given that opportunity, if you give us $25 on our Ko-Fi page, you can get the name of your nation shouted out in our 2022 Microcon speech. So once in a lifetime opportunity as far as that's concerned, and something that, again, it's not that crazy, but it's something big for us, and I really, $25 doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're talking about, needing to pay for food, gas, just our ticket prices and stuff like that to be able to go and to stay at Microcon and to pay for our hotel and living expenses. It adds up. So any little bit that we can get, we want to make it worthwhile for you guys to help us out. So if you do have any additional income that you can spare and you want to support us and what we're doing, those are some great ways. As well, the final thing, now that we have our land purchase, one of the first things that we really want to do to show everybody support for helping us, and one of the things that can actually help us to develop further on our land, we are wanting to create a Garden of Nations. This is a project that I will talk about more soon, but we essentially want to thank everybody who's helped us thus far and continue to promote Aeternia and micronational interests on our land. So we're going to be creating a small Garden of Nations where if you give us $35, you can have your nation's flag actually planted in a garden on Aeternia's territory to represent your nation and as a special thank you for your support of us. That $35, some of it will be spent on the flag, and we'll take a picture of it and send it to you and show you that, and it'll also be in the background of some of our videos and stuff that we do on the land. But as well, we will be able to actually have something for visitors of Aeternia, for other people to see that really represents the micronational community and what it has to offer. And the rest of that money, besides what's spent on your flag there, will be used for developing our dwellings and the rest of the things that we need to set up our community there on our territory to help out everybody. So that's the idea. Again, all of those tiers are commissions on our Ko-Fi page. If you want to go check out those commissions, you certainly can. Ko-Fi.com/Aeternia. You can even go, if you want to specifically go to those, /posts, #by commission modal. If you go to that special link, you can actually check out all of the commissions that are there. You can purchase one. And then if you do, and it's one of the ones that say, hey, you get a special thing for it, besides like the thank you stuff, you should email us at aeternianempire@gmail.com just to make sure that we see your thing, that we send it to the right person, that we have the proper address to give that to, and that we schedule everything with you correctly. So again, if you guys do want to support us and give extra stuff to do that, that's a way that we can do it. But again, yes, I will be filming stuff for Microcon and putting that out there. Yeah, so thank you guys. Drew says, hi, Andrew Carter. Jadonia says, okay, I see now. Novus says, salvete, pronounced salvete. Oh, my apologies. Is Latin for hello or salutation. Matt says, what would be the cost to live in Aeternia? That's a great question. So, again, I'm going to have to go soon because we are staying up pretty late. But, cost to live in Aeternia. We want to make our initial dwellings free for people. So, we have always wanted to be able to provide as much of an economic base of support for people as possible. And one of the difficulties Tiffany and I just had, which landed us in the situation we're in now, is that we couldn't afford the rent increase that we were charged at our previous apartment complex. And so we had to move out because they were going to, in order for us to sign a new lease, we were going to have to pay several $100s more a month just to be able to live in that apartment, which would mean we struggle to pay our bills, which means we couldn't do any content because we'd have to be doing nothing but working all the time and just trying to figure out some way to pay our bills. So instead of doing that, we decided to stay with Tiffany's family for a while, save up money, and purchase land as a means of escaping rent increases that were happening everywhere around us, not just at that one apartment complex. So that being one of the more cheap complexes that we could stay in. That all being said, short and sweet of it, it wouldn't cost you anything to live in Aeternia, just as far as the rent price. The rent would be free. You would have to pay your own utilities, which you would pay to us, and we would cover the cost of. So your water, your electricity, stuff like that. You would have to pay your own way as far as normal expenses, your food, your transportation, stuff like that. We don't have a system to employ anybody yet. We don't have our industries large enough to fully employ us yet. So we make very sporadic amounts of money. We would of course want as much of your support as possible, but if you were legitimately coming to live and stay on Aeternian soil, we would want you to have some sort of external job to be able to support yourself. So you would need to get a job here. We would set up and plan every step of the way with you, so that way before you moved here and took that large risk, you had a job set up in the area, you knew that you would have some sort of transportation. We may be able to help out to some extent with transportation, but most things are going to be on you. You shouldn't have to pay rent, though, is the one benefit. You would have a place to live for free, save for your utility costs, and save for the rest of your living expenses, food, the things that you would need personally to survive. But the actual dwelling would be offered to you for free, so long as you agree to and uphold the terms of your citizenship and residency, which we would have more specific terms for residency as far as, don't have any illegal things on the land, don't, cause problems in our community. You have to, give so much effort as far as support and development of our community, because although we would be giving you that space for free, and although we wouldn't expect you to work like a job without being paid for it, we would want some sort of community engagement from you. So we would want some sort of active participation in the things that we do, whether it's you edit a video every once in a while, or you make a live stream every once in a while, or you help out with something that we're trying to build on the land, or whatever. We would just want you to be an active member of that community, and every week or every couple weeks or every month or whatever, we would have a review of that to just make sure that you're abiding by what you said you would do in your residence agreement. We would make sure that we're able to continue to provide everything that we can on our end. We would have a discussion about that, make sure everybody's happy, and then continue on approving you through the months to stay there. If at any point you weren't able to, we would we would, cancel that agreement and give you so much time to be able to find other accommodations. But that being the case, that's the basics of what we've thought through so far. Again, we still have to continue to build those dwellings, so by all means, don't pack your stuff and get ready to move here tomorrow. But we're on the way. We are actively, legitimately being able to develop a platform for people to live in Aeternia in a way that is cheaper than most other living situations in the U.S., to my knowledge. Let me see. I said Drew. Matt asked if I could link the Ko-Fi in our chat, and I sure can. I don't know why I didn't do that initially. Let me jump in. Where's the chat? There's the chat. Ko-Fi. And again, if you do purchase a commission, please email us at aeternianempire@gmail.com just to make sure that you get your commission properly, that we send it to the right place. Oh, that's weird. It didn't actually go to the commissions thing. Let me see why that is. Hashtag buy commissions. Yeah, my apologies. So it brings you to posts for some reason. I don't know why that is, but if you actually go to the commissions section, you have to go to commissions, and then there will be a $5 tier, a $10 tier, a $15, $25, and $35 tier, which you can donate to. There is as well a little donate button, which you can do any amount of time. You can do a one-time donation or a monthly donation. But I did want to update you guys on that as well. I recommend going to a commission though, especially if you're wanting, like for example, the Microcon 22 speech or the Microcon 22 exclusive video. Actually go to the commission section and purchase it there, and then send us an email saying that you have done so, just to make sure that we properly get everything that needs to be done to you. But I appreciate it, and we will definitely be sending that stuff out. Drew said, "Oh, okay." Matt said, "Can you link the Ko-Fi in the chat?" I just did. Let me know if you got it. Let me know if there's any questions you have or anything. If anybody does get confused and purchases the wrong thing or whatever, please email me. I want to make sure that we get everything set up right. Drew says, Micronations have grown massively over 2 years. I can't wait for Microcon. Agreed. New England says, yes, sir. Cuppy says, I just did a COVID test and it was positive. I'm sorry to hear. Cuppy, that's awful. And I hope you're okay. Please keep well rested. Please keep us updated. And please make sure to take care of yourself. That's important. And make sure that you, again, try to protect yourself and others from continued exposure. You know what I mean? Wear your mask, if you can, vaccinate, do everything that you can to protect yourself and others. New England said good night. Good night, New England. Jadonia says, how do you get into Microcon? You have to pay. You have to pay money for that. That's what we're doing. It's, I think, $100-something per ticket, plus, your accommodations to stay in a hotel and to drive or fly there. We're driving because flying's hella expensive. It's going to be a super long drive. So yeah, that's how you do it. You just straight up pay for it and show up. But it'll be in August. We will probably be there and showing off for the Empire of Aeternia. Until then, I will see you all next time. Have a good night, everybody. I'm going to head out. Peace. Aeternia forever. You want to say anything to? Just tired. Aeternia forever. Until next time. May do a stream tomorrow. I'm trying to figure it out. Night, everybody.